Okay, great, thank you. And we need the camera on.
Yep.
For the board. Thank you, Carly. Welcome, everybody. Let's just do a quick sound check for those online. Director Kingsley, how's your sound? Good morning.
Perfect. Thank you. Good morning.
Thank you. Director Davidoff, how are you? Director Davidoff? Can you hear us? Do you want to check your sound? No? Good morning, Tanya. Thank you. I see you're unmuted.
Good morning.
Good morning. Okay. Thank you. All right. Who else do we have online, Carly, for directors? I think that's it. Okay, great. Welcome, everybody, to our January 2026 meeting. I'd like to welcome Director Gordon, who has joined us for the bustling city of Silverton. I believe it's a village, but bustling nonetheless. And alternate Director Bogle for Castlegar and alternate Director McKellar for Stelmo. So many S little towns around here. And thank you. I'd like to start by acknowledging and respecting the Indigenous people within whose traditional lands we are meeting today. And I'll call for adoption of the agenda with the several items being removed, which I can speak to. I'll just note the home save for the MOU is moving to February, and the Fortis grant is going direct to the city. So that's not coming to us. So that's why the MOU will be adjusted, and that's why they're being removed. But we still have a presentation from them today. Anyone like to move the agenda? Hewitt, Jackman, thank you. Any edits or corrections? What do we got going on in chat? Okay, thank you. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. And minutes from December. Thank you, Hewitt. Thank you, DeBoon. Any corrections, edits? Thank you. All those in favor? Thank you. DAO, you have an introduction.
Yes, so we don't often have turnover on our senior management team, but as you all know, Joe Kiriko is retiring at the end of February, and Tricia Davidson will be replacing Joe as the general manager of community services. So we've got a good portion of overlap. She's already started to get into some of the role there, and yeah, we'll look forward to working with her on the senior management team.
Welcome and congratulations, Tricia. We'll see you at the rec meeting. Okay, and we have a delegation today. Lori, you're welcome to come up to the table for Central Kootenay Invasive Species. Chair. Oh, so I forgot. I told you the chair. I forgot we have a podium. Yes, you can go over there where Cheryl's got you. Oh, I'm so sorry. Formal. It takes me a year to adjust to new things. So the mic I didn't mention is here in the middle, and you're fine there. But if we have any sound issues, I'll let you know. Okay. For those online, and your presentation's up. Over to you.
Okay, thank you everyone for the opportunity to kick off this meeting and to present to you on the actions of the Central Kootenay Invasive Species Society. So I am Lori Carr, I'm the executive director. And slide. I want to cover today in the agenda some highlights from 2025. Our master budget to see when funding fills in. And then there were some questions about glyphosate. And so I was going to do a little bit of a background and a use of glyphosate. Try to leave enough time to go over that. I was just cover in this presentation, so I'll try and do that. So just a reminder of who we are. So next slide. CICUS is a nonprofit. We were started, we just celebrated our 20th anniversary. Our mission is to protect our ecosystems and communities by preventing and what is invasive species. Next slide, please, as a refresher. The key thing about invasive species is two key things. One is that they're not native, they don't come from this region, and we're seeing that they cause some kind of harm. So they're not dandelions. Dandelions are in their lawn, they're fine. They have to cause some kind of economic, gotta change this slide, ecological or social harm in the environment where it has been introduced. So next slide, just some highlights from 2025. I just wanted to touch on the poison hemlock eradication plan and then the regional invasive species working group, which was started a couple of years ago, and the actions that have come out of our working group. So the poison hemlock eradication plan. So the RDPK has been supporting this community effort through the funding that they have been providing us to implement the RCK strategic invasive species plan.
Lori, can I ask you to speak a little louder?
Sure.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so poison hemlock, just a little bit of background. Why are we interested in poison hemlock? Because it is highly toxic to humans and livestock, and that's the next slide. It is centered in Preston and Yakima land. Next slide. Which makes it, sorry, and then the next slide after that, it makes it of concern because it is near agricultural lands that have livestock. That has been a problem for some livestock owners. So this is why we are particularly concerned about this species. So as you can see, it is with the little brown dots. It's kind of spreading along Dawes Creek, but it's also along roadways, in people's fields, it's on adjacent property. It's a multi-jurisdictional issue, like most invasive plants, it's multi-jurisdictional. This program, we're very excited about, consider this a flagship program because we were actually involved in every single jurisdiction in this effort to eradicate this. And that includes private property, which is not something that we're usually able to do, but we have funding from the Habitat Conservation Trust Fund, which has been funding the community engagement piece of this project. So very excited about this because this is where we want to see invasive species management go. Multi-jurisdictional, coordinated, landscape level, everybody on board. So this is brand new way of doing this. So pretty exciting. The largest barrier to this, though, is that it is spreading along Dawes Creek, which is hard to access, and restricted funding from the city of Preston because it's primarily on their land along Dawes Creek. So that's an issue. And then there's private property along the Dyken District that we have engaged the landowners, but we need to do some more to get them involved. So this project ends this June, and then we're going to see what we can do to keep the funding going. Obviously, with invasive plant control, it's really important that there's consistency and that we continue. So this species started about 10 years ago. It showed up in the region. And when that happens, if it's a prevent species, it goes to the province, it's part of the early detection rapid response. So they would manage it. But then if it goes beyond 10 sites, which it did fairly rapidly because it spreads by seed, they drop it out of the program. So that's how it has spread. But because we think that this is a really, really high priority species, we are trying to now deal with it. Okay, the CKID budget. The next two slides. So, oh shoot, sorry. Regional invasive species working group. Forgot that one. Okay, so we had 4 meetings in 2025, and there was 2. Lots of things came out of that group. It's working really well, in my opinion. Super helpful. But 2 big actions came out of that. And the working group has representatives from all municipalities in the RDCK, and then board members from the RCK, Dr. Vanberg and Dr. Hewitt, and then RDKB, various KB as well, are on the working group. So the first big action that came out of that was to make a resolution to the Federation of Canadian Municipalities. So this resolution has been submitted to the FCM. It's sitting there, but it does require sponsorship from a municipality or local government to have it forward. And the resolution is this, that FCM lobby the federal government to fund the municipalities for invasive species prevention program to support municipalities in preventing and managing invasive species. So they do have standing policies already at FCM with regards to invasive species and the need for federal support to municipalities for invasive species programs, but they don't have a funding mechanism. So this resolution is aimed at providing that funding mechanism. This was, I've been in contact with the FCM, and we had a big discussion about this, and this is what they would really help them move this forward with this resolution. So I don't exactly know how to move this forward, but we do need a proposal that's going to go, a motion to approve submitting this resolution if it's going to make the spring meeting. The next action that came out of the working group was the need for more control along the right-of-ways. And so this is the Ministry of Transportation and Transit that would be taking care of this. So we made a proposal to them for the Good Neighbor program. And the point of this program is to control low priority species along rights of ways that are adjacent to private landowners that want to see action happen. So this is something that is of concern to agricultural producers. They're managing these invasives on their property, but then they turn around and there's like whole strip. They have like spotted knapweed right beside them. So that annoys a lot of people. So they do have this program that exists in other regions. So we have made a proposal to them to start it here in our region due to financial restraints with the province. I'm not correct on this one, but it's start to at least make our needs known. Okay, next slide. Now this is the complete master budget. So I just wanted to show where the RCK funding fits into the big picture for us. So we have 3 programs. There's the engagement program, field program, and the aquatic program. The aquatics program is focused on monitoring lake water for beaver and quagga mussels. The field program is mostly fee for service contracts, and this is aimed at controlling invasive plants, primarily on or a lot on Crown land and major private landowners, as well as municipalities. And then we have our engagement program, which is our core part of CTIS because it meets our mission to prevent invasive species. Controlling is part of prevention, but we want to see most of the effort in prevention. So next slide. I think the thing I want to point out mostly here is the coordination piece of our funding. That is core funding, and that is hard to come by because most of our engagement program support is coming from grants, which are restricted funding and very project aimed. And so we do receive some funding from the Ministry of Forests, and then we receive the RDCK funding. So I just wanted to say thank you for that funding because it makes a huge difference because that money allows us to do the analog eradication plan, which is a lot of it is coordination and partnership building. And that piece is very hard to fund, but it's absolutely critical to the work that we do. It supports everything that we do. Because we are dealing with multi-jurisdictions, collaboration and partnership is essential to our work and success. So next slide. Our budget for next year, FY 2027, is looking to be fairly similar as to it was last year. Right. Okay, we're gonna move on then. Okay, so glyphosate. There were some questions about glyphosate. It's mainly used in agricultural, forestry, and ecosystem health. A lot of the public stuff in the media has been around high doses of glyphosate, which are used in agriculture. Also aerial spraying in forestry, which doesn't happen in our region and is being phased out. And then we have what we use herbicide for, which is spot treatment, so it's like individual plants. It's not a huge amount of it, and the purpose of that is to increase biodiversity, whereas the other industry's aim is to decrease biodiversity. So completely different goals here. Why would we use glyphosate versus any other herbicide? Okay, so there's two, next slide, there's two types of herbicides, residual and non-residual. Residual stays in the soil, advantages to that, can kill seeds, can be selective against certain species. Non-residual, it breaks down, but it's not selective, so it kills everything, all plants, I should say. Glyphosate is special because it's the only systemic non-residual herbicide, which means it does not stay in the water, does not stay in the soil, breaks down, and it gets into the roots, which is very key for some species. So next slide, our herbicide use is governed by Integrated Pest Management Act. We do a lot of our treatments on Crown land, so we are following the EM from the province. Next slide, please. When do we use glyphosate? We use glyphosate on about 25% per site, which sounds a lot. It's actually, we actually don't use very much of it, but we do use it in very key situations, and one of those is close to water. Because it binds to the soil, it's unique in that it can go right up to 1 meter of the water high mark, and it's the only herbicide you can do that with. It's also used in gravel pits because it breaks down, it's not residual, so you're removing gravel. So you want clean gravel in moving it, you don't want a residual herbicide in there. And then we also use it on sandy soils because it binds to the soil and it doesn't leach. So while it looks like we use a lot of glyphosate, we actually only use about 4% of our herbicide and end up being glyphosate. So it's been in the news a lot. Next slide, but I don't have time to go over this. But I can, if you didn't receive these materials, I can provide them. The latest Health Canada response was, next slide, these two federal court ruling asking them to review their regulation of glyphosate. So this is just a little explanation of their response, which is basically that because our exposure to glyphosate, mainly from eating food, is 1,000 times lower than the threshold of which it might cause damage, which is in this case cancer. It's a probable carcinogen, which means they don't know for sure if it is or not. They are not going to change their ruling about glyphosate, so it remains the same. If that makes sense. So next slide, just to sum this all up, is how best to reduce herbicide use, and it's not just glyphosate, it's herbicides, they're all chemicals. The best way is prevention, and this is like the main messaging that we're always trying to impart on people, is that we always want to stay at the bottom part of the curve, which is to stop the invasive species from getting here, but then when they do, early detection records. Find them, eradicate them when they are in very small quantities, so then we are not dealing with this endless piece of management. And I wanted to leave time for questions. I'm gonna wrap that up.
Thank you, Lori. So we have 5 minutes and 5 directors who have questions, plus myself. I just want to remind the committee, the motion for FCM was on this agenda. We needed to come from a director, so we'll work with our FCM reps and our CKIS working group reps to bring that forward for another agenda. So just letting you know that's where that motion is. Now, as we go through the speakers list, I'm going to ask you if it's a question you can take offline for Lori, please do so, just given the timing. If it's specific to the rest of the information we have on our agenda today, then please ask it. Jackman, go ahead.
Okay, I'll ask you, not sure, well, poison hemlock, I see a lot of PA grass in the not so much moving along the lake across the very further regions. Are you monitoring A or C?
Answer, no. We don't monitor, and the province does not, but
We'll
it's
take that offline.
Thank you. Director Cunningham?
Oh, yes, thank you. This is the first time I've heard about the poison hemlock thing. But when I have some questions, perhaps I should take them offline. Is this the poison hemlock that's not pretty strange?
Yes.
Thank you. Quite willing, by the way. As you probably know. Okay, secondly, how did it, any question about how it got here? How did you know my question? And how do we eradicate it? And do the seas float? So we'd be finding rid of the seas drifting down the stream.
Yes, the concern is definitely, moving downstream. And, spread, it can, we don't know how things are always spread, but it is showing up along the rail line. It's Nelson along the rail line, it's been Preston along the rail line, and so we're guessing that some of it could have come along the rail. And then who knows, on equipment is a big one as well.
Thank you.
Oh, how do you eradicate it? You can pull it out, just dig it straight out of the ground, or you can cut it, slop it off so it doesn't go to seed, it goes to microbat, and then the other ways for the spread.
Thank you. Director Weatherhead.
Thank you. Through the chair, on the poison hemlock, has it also, I noticed your map, I've not seen the Arrow Lakes region in there. Is there detection in the Arrow Lakes and eradication measures?
Yeah. It's Salmo, Nelson, and Preston.
Okay, and just another question, I probably should take it offline, but it is to do with like the state in the forestry, and my concern is it is happening in my region. Yeah, we have some aerial spraying. I'm assuming that's what it was. And yeah, days of helicopters flying over my house. So I know that the backwoods area is actually a caribou protected area. And we're trying very, very hard to protect the caribou. And I have a lot of concerns about the, because of the way it's just all the measures, what it does to reduce that competition from deciduous, is this creating more of a wildfire hazard?
Yeah, they are phasing it out, the practice. I thought it was not happening in southern BC.
I don't know what else they'd be spraying.
Director Weatherhead,
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
please, through the chair, we don't have time for another question. Benedict.
Okay, thank you, I will.
Sorry, just,
No,
we have to respect, we have such a speakers list, so one question or ask them all in one shot. Thank you. Hewitt.
Thank you, Chair. I can ask mine at our next invasive species briefing.
Okay, if you want to ask, because it's relevant to, we have a request today, then I don't mean to say don't ask. So if it's relevant to our budget question, you can ask.
Well, really quickly, on your budgets, you got the regional districts of Central Kootenay and Kootenay boundary. Has there been any movement on getting funding?
Oh, okay. So so they give us some funding for Area A, partial Area A, but in the next election, they want to enact a service area bylaw for areas A and B is what they're aiming for, to collect funds to expand the program for all of Area A and to include Area B.
Are you referencing East Kootenay?
No, that
Kootenay boundary. Okay, thank you. And Dr. Page.
Nelson area, the Blackfoot Bay. Has come up a lot. I'm wondering, do you guys have resources on your website? Like you talk about the different species, have you considered having a landing page? I learned stuff from the presentation I didn't know.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we will put some, we're redoing our website.
Yeah,
And I'm going to put one on Glyphosate
that would be good.
on there, yeah.
I think it would be helpful. Thanks.
Thanks. Vandenberg, we got a minute left. Go ahead.
It was asked by Director Hughes.
Okay. I don't like cutting you guys short on these important discussions. We just have a lot to do today. So, thank you so much, Lori. Really appreciate your time today and your presentation.
I appreciate that. Anybody has questions, just shoot me an email. We could talk.
Thanks. And presentation for those online is on our agenda. So if anyone wants to take that away, they can. Thanks, Lori. Have a great day. You're welcome to stay around. We do a lot of things. Okay. All right, we're going to keep moving. 3.1. Well, guess what this one is? We're going to go right into it. This is the Regional Invasive Species Annual Request. We have a motion. We have a report from Paris. Director Hewitt.
I'll just move that.
You're moving the motion. Is there a second? Vandenberg, is that a second?
Yes.
Thank you. Discussion. Cunningham?
Sure, yeah, just a pointer. I thought we didn't do funding requirements at the same time as the presentation.
It was referred from the last meeting, so it's already a part of our business.
Yes.
Yeah, but good catch. Thank you, Vandenberg. Go ahead.
So I just want to point out the terms of reference were approved in January 2025 for a working group. They're to be reviewed in 2026, which is our next meeting. One of the larger issues there was to Director Hewitt's comment about contribution from RDKB. So it may be that we'd be looking at redoing that terms of reference, depending on that conversation. I just want the board to be aware.
Thank you, Director Vandenberg. And do appreciate, as the two committee members, when you have those working group meetings, we did get the minutes through this report, but by all means, as the representatives, you can include those in your director's reports. And then we get those updates a little sooner. So thank you for that. Any other discussion? You're watching chat. Weatherhead?
Thank you to the chair to, just in the sense that I'm not really hearing a lot about simplicity in my area.
Okay.
So I'm just, I'm supporting the rest of the regional district, but I just don't really get to, get, a really good understanding of what's actually serving area.
Thank you. I'll encourage you to reach out to Lori offline and see what maybe is happening there. Okay. All right then. Ready for a vote? All those in favor? Anybody opposed? Seeing none, that passes. Thank you very much. Kootenay Food Council, this is our annual contribution to that council. We have a report and a motion. The report addressed the delegation questions. Weatherhead?
Thank you. So, I was reached out, to by Damon, which was lovely. And so I did discover that SD10 falls outside of the United Way boundary for that particular funding through, or support, I guess. And that SD10 works in a more decentralized fashion. So I guess it's adding to the complexity of their pilot trial, so we won't be a part of those.
So this motion is their operational funding request. The pilot request is further down in the agenda.
It's further down? Okay,
Yeah.
Thank you.
No problem. And it's a good one to note at that time that you could request that that pilot includes your area so that it covers what United Way is not
Yeah, I
covering.
think we might have it figured out.
Okay.
already, So. yeah.
Great. McLaren Cohen, sorry.
I was just gonna move the motion.
Move the motion. Do we have a second? Thank you, Hewitt. Further discussion. Vandenberg and Jackman.
So I've done a little bit of background on this. I would characterize KFC as being very forward in their planning and what their goals and the loftiness of which those would be. As a person who sits in the meetings, so a couple of things that I'm concerned about is, for example, the Fields to School program type of a wish that they want to get into. That is an existing program that is being provided by the ministry. It has its challenges, and I don't know that it's really where you want to go. So there's a couple more examples of that, the goals that they wish to proceed, but there's perhaps there needs to be some conversation around should we really be going there? And so I'm okay with the funding on this, but I will be having those conversations at that table with that group to ensure that they can take on what is reasonable and be able to deliver. And then also further encourage conversation in our Crescent Valley. Our Crescent Valley is very key to the success of what the programs are, particularly around storage and transportation, those sorts of things. And I think that that conversation needs to be enhanced because Crescent is a very key piece to delivering some of the initiatives that KFC is putting forward. And I don't know that those conversations are being brought enough and focused on enough. So just a comment around what I'll be watching for and certainly support the efforts of this program.
Thank you. KFC not being Kentucky Fried Chicken, but Kootenay Food Council. Sorry, I had to say it. First thing I thought of.
I thought that was very smart.
Yeah, sorry. Well, we share. Jackman, go ahead.
You stole my thunder.
Oh, sorry.
As Director Vandenberg just pointed out, there's overlap, see, with the school program, there's overlap with the West Kootenay initiatives, with the Crescent Valley, Food Hub, and Fields Forward, there's overlap with Food Down Farm Advisors. This program, it seems to put a lot of its weight on, what's the communications and engagement. To me, there's no better engagement than, say, KDFA, the Kootenay Valley Farm Advisors. They are about as engaging as you get with the people producing food on the ground. It's not just about the producers. They all network and talk about how they then get that food into the system, locally and further abroad. So I'm a little concerned that we not think that this is the focal point for success. I think the other groups are the ones we should look to lean into to support more heavily. This started off sort of as the policy high level, and now they're trying to be very much boots on the ground. We have a number of boots on the ground organizations already. So I'm concerned that we just say, well, okay, here's 30K of taxpayer money without better understanding who's doing what. Maybe their mandate should not be boots on the ground and local coordination and duplication. So we let it go this year. We should have a much better conversation about who else is doing this for future budgets.
So I'm on the speakers list on this one. I do want to speak to first the foods program that is available through the ministry is about healthy food to children. They don't look at source. What Kootenay Food Council doing is looking at source and procurement so that they're using local farmers' produce and increasing our economics on a rural level so that it's the Creston farmers, it's the Caslow farmers who are getting into the school system. So there's a difference there, which speaks to the next point. Why I support this is that Kootenay Boundary Farm Advisors is very much farm advisors. It's your irrigation, it's your soil, it's your grazing, it's all of the things that an extension agent used to do that no longer does, which, by the way, will not stop advocating that the Ministry of Agriculture gets back in the game on that one. The Food Council is the system. It's the distribution. It's the actual, where is food? How do we localize it? How do we build a regional food system? And the engagement is around the system piece. I do know that when they initially started, it was very much policy focused because a lot of our system issues are related to policies that are federal, such as our export and our international food requirements that are regulated by the WTO. So that's what they were focused on. Public feedback was that's too high level. We want you boots on the ground. So I do think they're actually pivoting based on that feedback. Some of that feedback came from former Director Peterson, who was on the committee. I support what they're doing. I do feel like they've come back to this table many times with extensive details to try and speak to what we're looking for. And the most important for me is I connect with my farmers in the Lardo Valley, and they have found both entities very supportive, whether it's they're currently doing a research on a seed trailer because we have a rotating seed trailer that comes up from the coast. We're looking at bringing one to the Kootenay centralized here. And that's for seed saving. So again, system, full spectrum. So I'm happy to support this one. Graham, is that a hand? No, sorry. I was trying to read the room a little bit. Any other discussion? Cunningham, are you on the list? Okay. Chat's good? No, it's hard when we kind of do this. I sometimes interpret wrong. All those in favor? Who's opposed? Seeing none, that passes. Thank you very much. Community Future Central Kootenay. This is for the West Kootenay Rural Community Immigration Pilot. Again, there was some additional information that came in, so it's on the agenda. Graham, that was your hand?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Thank you. So I'm just looking for clarification. So last year, we funded, or the regional district funded $20,000 to this program. I believe it came out of S100 to 57010. So that and 65,000 from last year would have been 15 for the CKIS, 30 for the Food Policy Council, and 20 for the RSEP, correct? Okay.
To the chair, that's fine.
So question, maybe to Stuart. The 2026 proposal has only 45,000 in 57010. So we didn't anticipate funding this in the draft.
To the chair, not in the 5-year plan. No. No, we understand that the CKIS request and the Central Kootenay Food Policy Council request, we know those are ongoing annual requests that will come. So those are included in the 5-year plan, draft plan, and then decided on as they were at this meeting. This is a new request for a reapplication on the program. So it was not contemplated last year that Community Futures would be asking for this. So we had no reason to include it in the draft budget for 2026 in 2025's plan.
Thank you. So that would mean that anything we approve now is going to add to our S100 budget.
To the chair, correct.
Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Page.
Move the motion.
You moved the motion. Do we have a second? Lund seconds. Thank you. Discussion. Oh, sorry, I have a speaker's list. I'm sorry. Vandenberg and then Grant. Okay, go ahead, Vandenberg.
Great, thank you. Appreciated the presentation the last time we were here. I have done a little bit of my research. I guess my concern is that S100 participating in this program is very much based on, it's supporting a lot of the urban centric on this. In the rural sector, I've had a chat with my major producers, and as far as the immigration program is concerned, they're set. I guess I'm a little bit concerned too that this program doesn't allow for the beneficiaries to contribute to it. It's somewhat restricted. It's got to come from government type of funding, that sort of thing, which I think is contrary to what the program's trying to do. I guess from my perspective in the rural, and not to say that the cities and the towns are having a struggle, but their businesses are paying taxes directly to them. Their contribution makes sense to support this program. I guess I'm just a little bit apprehensive that in rural, we don't see the benefit of this. It's not a lot of money, but I've got 49 other services to consider. And so I would tend to want to suggest that this should be kind of a discretionary as opposed to an S100, because it certainly has benefit for our towns and cities. But in my experience, in my background, and with my research, not so much. Our farmers have already adapted to an immigration program they have to rely on. So that doesn't really do a whole lot for them. So just wanted to put that on the table for consideration.
Thank you. Back to you, Director Graham.
I think Director Vandenberg pretty much summed it up as well for me. I like the program, so I'm not saying the program isn't worth it. I struggle with area taxpayers paying into this. I just wonder if there was another way to fund this through grants and not fund it for S100 taxpayers to pay for it. So that's my struggle with it. What I guess I would like to see, and it's just a pipe dream here, would be all of us coming together with some grant money and funding it that way as opposed to forcing it on taxation. And I just want to say, I haven't seen that in my 3 years here. I have not seen like all the municipalities or all of the regional districts, the areas come together. Like each one of us put in $1,000, that's $22,000. It just for rural areas. So I just haven't seen that happen in my 3 years here where we all say, yes, like this is something like, you know, we're about, if we pass this motion, we're gonna pass it on to taxpayers, but if it was coming out of our grants, would we do that? So it's just a question that came to my mind as I was thinking about this program. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Graham. I will just inform in terms of grants. We have done that, but maybe not all. Municipalities are quite restricted. They need council resolution. It doesn't prohibit anybody from reaching out to fellow directors saying, hey, do you want to work with me on this? But that has to come from directors. It wouldn't come from staff. This isn't a staff program. So just in terms of process, that could occur. And anyone's welcome to band together and do that if they wish. Papa.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Not to repeat what was said by the former directors, but exactly that. There's very little rural, like Area H problem is the biggest one where it's gone for. But we're getting feedback, at least I am, from my residents that taxation is going up and up and up, and we want to keep taxation down. This was not in our 5-year plan, so I'm concerned about that. And I'd be prepared to work with Community Futures and providing them either a community development grant or a community discretion grant rather than lumping us all together.
Okay. Paige.
Yeah, I would just say that it's important.
Yeah.
It's important to understand that while employers might be based in previous stats that are provided to us in the majority of municipalities where often our commercial sector is based, and a lot of those opportunities are, we don't have data on where people actually are taking up residencies, where they're living, and where they're contributing to the community, just because they work with you, doesn't mean they don't live in area E or area F. And I just want to go over some of the priority sectors that this program is identifying, because we have gaps, and that's healthcare. Those are nurses, those are educators. There are people that are in the trades and transport, equipment operators, that are making sure that our organizations and employers are able to find that skilled labor that they need, and that we're part of this pilot here within RDCK and the RDKB. And part of doing this together is to make sure that we're getting them that extra access to people who want to come to this country for these skilled sectors, for the manufacturing and the utilities, so that our jobs are well cared for and that those companies can sustain. And so that benefit translates across sectors. It's not as small as just Nelson or Cadlo or Castlegar or EFK or G. Like it helps the whole region. And those people will, once they land and they get secure, they're going to move away. They're not going to be tied down. So it helps the whole region, helps us all flourish. I think this is a good program, and we're really lucky that we've been able to go on having another cycle of it in this new reimagined portion, which is going to be a lot more community driven. The whole component to this program, where the sectors that we identify as we go through this next leg of it, these will adjust. So if there's more that we can see for for farming and succession management, and that comes from community, then there's opportunity for Creston area to have that feedback in the program and look for other sectors. So I think it's a great program. I think we should.
Thank you. I did note agriculture is not one of the eligible ones. So.
All I was saying is the community model in this new program allows for feedback from community to identify new sectors.
Sorry, I was clarifying why it doesn't address agriculture. There's other programs for that.
Yeah, it could.
McLaren Co. And we are going on a little bit, so can you be succinct? I wasn't directing that at you, but go ahead.
Sure. Thanks, Chair. I'll just say really quickly, I think Director Page raises some really good points. McCusk was in the Rural Northern Immigration Pilot Program, where the board has expanded to include McCusk and Arrow Lakes area. I think we only had 1 or 2 applicants within that area, but I still see the benefit to the entire region. And if we're talking about tax base, increasing our economic, the resilience of our region increases our tax base, which reduces the burden on everybody generally. And I'll just say quickly, Selkirk Innovates just put out their State of the Basin report for 2024, and the labor replacement rate for our region is 0.67, which means we don't have enough people to replace all the jobs that are becoming vacant. So this is one of the ways that we address that. So I support the program.
Thank you. I do have Vandenberg, but that's for a second time, so I'm going to go to David off for the first time.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I just want to make the board aware that the Castlegar or areas I and J, we have an economic development service. And what we do is that we spend $25,000 a year on physician recruitment, and that includes physicians coming from outside of Canada. We also contribute from our service to all the activities, the chamber activities, all the economic development pieces and everything else. So we're kind of maxed out in terms of our economic development service. Our contribution is substantial. We know without doctors, we won't have an economic base in our communities. It can't sustain business without doctors. So we kind of have identified our strategic priorities for targeting our money. And I know Director Hanegraaff could speak to this for herself, but I can't support something else without that increase in taxation. But our priorities have been identified and they're strategic, and that's how we're applying our economic development funds. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Director Davidoff, and Vandenberg for the close.
Yes, thank you. And actually, Director Davidoff pointed out those things that is occurring in our backyard as well with our local valley services. We are very much committed to strategic planning on economic development. So, I mean, the physician recruitment program is something that's real for us too. So it's this duplication that's going on right now. And I will just say that, as far as investment when it comes to our urban partners, feel free. But on the rural side, we're already putting in a lot into this. And I don't see that it ought to be resting on S100 for the benefit when we're all trying to partner and work to benefit as best we can currently.
Okay. Friendly reminder, if we don't want to do this, you can work on grants with your colleagues. Newell, for the actual close, we need to move on.
I'll close as a seconder if I could.
Yes, please do.
Sorry for the
No, it's good.
But actually the last 2 speakers kind of highlighted for me the importance of last three speakers, the integrated model of economics, the non-boundary of economics, the extreme challenge of hiring and retaining, the massive impact, as Andrea was able to show to us in November, of the federal government's change in their immigration policy. I think it's acknowledged that this program may not be the organized, funded maybe the best way possible, but Community Futures has established a baseline of being able to do this work. And in contrast to when looking at the graph, even though it may look like it's centered mostly in Nelson, Castlegar, and Trail in regard to employers, I mean, that's highly logical. And our regional economic thing is a regional enterprise. And so I think this is really well worth supporting. Community Futures has the expertise and the track record, and I really believe that we as a region need to support a regional economy in ways that we can, and I think our taxpayers benefit from it. I will just close by saying that, as we could see in the recent BC assessments, that in most of our areas, our house values stabilized, if not went up. And your house price does not go up if there's no doctors, no economy, there's a direct correlation between those two things. And we all, it looks like through the BC assessment, we all benefited from an economy that seems to be at least stable in our area. So I think it's well worth supporting.
Okay, thank you. This is an all vote wait, so we are gonna call for hands, but Vice Chair McLaren is gonna track just if we get tight. So all those in favor, hands up. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And online. Okay, so we're gonna have to count waits here. So did you get who that was?
Not everybody.
All right, let's just do it this way. Sorry. Jackman.
In favor.
Tierney.
In favor.
Vandenberg.
Not.
I'm not. Cheryl Graham. Sorry, Director Graham. I'm sorry, in favor? Okay. Newell.
In favor.
Cunningham.
In favor.
Papa.
Opposed?
Davidoff.
Opposed?
Hanegraaff.
Opposed.
Weatherhead.
In favor.
Bogle.
Opposed.
DeBoon.
In favor.
Hewitt.
In favor.
McLaren Co.
In favor.
Page. Paisley.
Opposed.
And McKellar.
Opposed.
Opposed. Sorry, that took me a moment. Gordon.
Opposed.
And Director Lund.
In favor.
Okay. Last guy.
Recording.
Yeah, we can record the opposed. I'll make sure Carly gets that. Thanks, Carly. I hear the. What is that, Jeopardy? Good conversation, everybody. Definitely thinking deep today. Passes. Okay, that passes, and everybody who was opposed wants to be recorded. Anybody not want to be recorded opposed that was? You're okay, Casely? Okay. You got it, Carly? Do you want this? Okay, thank you. All right. Moving right along. We are on number 4, committees and commissions.
Oh, Chair, what was a point of order? What was the result? I didn't.
It was
20 to 15.
20. Go ahead, Stuart.
Through the chair, it was 20 to 15 weighted.
In favor.
Yes.
Weighted vote, right?
Yes.
Okay, sorry, I didn't hear that 20 to 15. Yeah, thank you, Chair.
No problem, David. Oh, thank you. 4.1.1 was removed. 4.1.2 Creston Valley. Daboon is this chair, but I did want to note we should have a number in this motion in terms of how much we're applying for. I sent that to Sankita and Director Jackman. Did somebody get that number for us?
Chair, through the chair, $200,000.
Okay, thank you. Daboon, if you can move it with the $200,000 note there. Thank you.
Topic number one, that the board authorize staff to apply for the real estate foundation BC grant for the amount of $200,000 in support funding for school phases 3 and 4 of the Goat River watershed water sustainability plan, and further that if successful, grant funding be allocated to community sustainable living service as 105. The further that if successful, the chair and corporate officer be qualified to sign on necessary documents.
Thank you. Do we have a second? Thank you. This is all vote weighted discussion. Vandenberg, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to point out that had a really good, robust conversation around this and moving forward with our water sustainability planning. The purpose of this funding request is to get things moving. We have chatted with staff that we need to be looking at other funding opportunities for this. And one of the key pieces that we're going to be working on going forward is a council-to-council meeting with our Indigenous partners as being key and critical to anything else moving forward. Those conversations have to be had so that we can develop a communication baseline and an understanding in our relationship. But this is just a measure to speed things up. And then, of course, look at other funding operations. Just wanted to point that out for the board.
Thank you, Vandenberg. Anyone who would like to read the full report on all the different pieces to this, the Crescent Valley Services Committee had some really good reports there. So you can check out that agenda page. Go ahead. Sorry, I didn't see your hand.
Yeah, Chair, Director Vandenberg, what's the council to council? Can you just look at the council?
Let staff answer that one. Thank you.
Sure, staff.
So through the chair, it's Yakanuki Council.
And on our side, the board.
On our side would be, well, through the chair would definitely be the directors from the Crescent Valley Services Committee, possibly the chair. And then we can talk about further participation, but that would be the starting point would be that sub-regional group.
It should be
Yes.
government to level
Yes.
government, not committee to council.
Yeah. It will be, so there's a couple different pieces to that. You would have seen the workshop request on the co-management piece. That's a part of that conversation as well, because that'll be one of the first places we actually endeavor to look at co-management on the ground. The other one is the community to community. It is when the executives discussed around having full board participation in that. To do so, it'd be really helpful when we get to that point that all members of the board have read all the previous materials about what we've been doing with Go Watershed. It has been focused at the Crescent Valley because that's where it is. Anyone's welcome to join that conversation. So the CDC ideally will be the full board to council. And this funding is not specific to the CDC. That's a separate funding request. Daboon and then Hewitt.
Just through the chair, we hope to also include the town council because of the proximity and the fact that proximity is main, but also understanding.
So thank you. If we can go through the chair, and also the CDC will be a different conversation. This is specific to engagement with several different players. The CDC will likely come back to us. Hewitt.
Thank you, through the chair. Just for clarity, is there a budgetary ask for CSLAC related to this item, or is this 100% of the funding? Because that comes from other participants as well as the those of your custom document.
Jackman.
I believe we have 0.25 FTE assigned to the investors through CSLAC.
So it is noted in the CSLAC when they give us the overview of where staff time is allocated. That would be where that financial implement or component is within CSLAC. That being said, that position I believe is split between S100 and CSLAC. So the grant sits in CSLAC. Staffing kind of goes between the two. Jackman, go ahead.
So a little bit further, I think what was unclear is if some of our staff costs will be eligible under the grant. That was part of the reason we had that sub-regional conversation. If you look at the actual applications like TPD to be determined how we allocate, and we've stressed that we want to maximize use of whatever portion of this 200,000 can offset staff costs, in which case it would free up money in CSLAC. But if you don't budget the person in CSLAC to go through the process, and you can't funded through the grant, then you're stuck. So I think that's why you'll see it in the staffing, it's about 0.25 in cases.
For the full project,
For the
everything
bigger-
that's happening,
bigger
not just
project.
specific to this
Uh,
grant.
Full project, sorry, 19.25 plus, some of Paris's additional.
Okay, okay. All those in favor? Opposed, carried. And the next one, go ahead, Director Vandenberg. Or not Vandenberg, sorry, DeBoon.
There
Sorry.
you go.
Well, I know, he's the chair. Sorry.
That the board approved the RDCK enter into the 3-year agreement with Valley Community Services for non-exclusive use of the lower floor of the Overcrest Hall to deliver therapeutic activation programming for seniors, commencing on February 1st, 2026 and ending on January 31st, 2029. That the board chair and corporate officer be authorized to execute the agreement.
Vandenberg, do you second?
I do.
Thank you. Discussion? Jackman, the Newell.
Do we want the dollar amount here? I think it's $10 a year and it's funded through S224, Preston Valley Rec Complex.
Yes. Carly, did you get that? Put it where it makes sense. Thank you, Carly. Newell, was that your
Asked and
question?
answered.
All right, good job. Further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. All right, 4.1.3 joint resource recovery. We're not going to block these. We're going to go one at a time. Go ahead, Chair Jackman.
Yes, thanks for that. You will note there are 6 of the recommendations are participant only weighted. And I think one at a time will be faster than trying to block everything. So I'd like to first move, first one, the board directs staff to implement adjustments to the operating hours of the Castle Transfer Station and Recycling Depot in April 2026.
Second.
And should this chair reference, because they didn't think about it yesterday, as per the report to the Joint Resource Recovery Agency, can we add that before?
I would think so, because the report indicates what everybody's doing. We're going up.
So we would add it, Carly could add that to every one of these. I realized we didn't do them yesterday.
So it's adding reference to the report dated. You got it. You're great. Thank you. Second Newell, thank you. Discussion? I'm just looking at you if there's any, you're good. Yeah, okay. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. And so I think it'll be.
Chair, it's PO.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Central, you'll wait as potential.
This is PO Central.
Now I gotta remember who's in what. So participants only weighted. Let's see hands. All those in favor, Central. Thank you.
I guess that's, we're looking up exactly what we're.
Repeat that we're participants only, the corporate weight. Is that what you wanted repeated?
For
Central. Caslo's in Central, and that's the motion we're on. So participants are Central. Is that what you were asking?
yes, which motion exactly where we are?
We're on number 1.
Thank you, and that's fine.
Okay,
I was looking ahead and I wasn't sure if you're out. Thank you.
you're next. Okay, 1 second. Or no, you're not. I'm sorry. I didn't call for opposition. Is there any opposition to this motion from central directors? All central directors are here, right? Yes. Okay, great. Thank you. That one passes. Your next one is.
Second is also Central Resource Recovery. I move the board direct staff to implement adjustments to the operating hours of the Balfour Transfer Station and Recycling Depot in April 2026 as per the staff report.
Second.
Thank you. And discussion? All those in favor, Central Resource. Thank you. Any opposed in Central? Thank you. And I noted, Director McKellar, you're aware you are Central. You got that. Thanks. Also Central, number 3 is Lakeside.
Yes, move the board direct staff to implement adjustments to operating hours at Lakeside Recycling Depot in April 2026 as per the staff report.
You're seconding? Thank you, Paige. Question?
Quick question for the next section, it'd be a block.
No.
Okay.
Thank you. It'll just get complicated, so I'm not going to take it. Further discussion on Lakeside for Central? Anyone can ask questions. All those in favor for Central? Anybody opposed? Thank you very much. That one passes.
What section are we on?
Oh, we are on 4.1.3 Joint Resource Recovery Committee. We just did motion number 3, which is,
No problem.
you got it? No problem, thanks. So number 4,
Yes, also central, this is the reason we're not blocked, but I will move the committee's recommendation that the board direct staff to plan the permanent closure of the Weimar transfer station and satellite recycling depot in April 2026 as per the staff report.
so I'll look for a second. Thank you, Newell. It's on the floor. Cunningham, go ahead.
Thank you. I would like to speak in opposition to this resolution, because the previous ones all talked about reviewing the funding and possibly changing them. This one says, oh no, we're just gonna wipe you guys off the map. And I would like people to vote in opposition to this, to defeat this motion, and I would like to replace it with one along the same lines as the previous. And if I may, Chair, the proposed wording is that staff review.
So Director Jackman, Cunningham, if you can just speak to it, we can't take another motion at this time.
I've spoken to the one that's there, that I would like to speak.
Yes.
That's all you want me to do?
Well, you can't talk about another motion while a motion's on the floor,
Okay.
so I'll come back to you.
Fair enough.
But you've made your point. Is there anything else you want to add to why you're opposing this?
I'm opposed to it because it's the only one that completely eliminates it. Find that a service that's been there for 40 years, when in fact, all the others have talked about trimming budgets and hours and things like that. I would certainly rather have a motion that does that kind of thing, the same as the others, be treated the same as the others than what's there.
Okay, thank you. First on the list is we've got Jackman, Davidoff, and Vandenberg. Jackman?
Thank you. Again, this is central business, but I was also suggested they defeat this. We didn't really have the time because it was a joint, it wasn't a sub-regional meeting for the total impact to be discussed, but some of Area G residents will drive to Virginia. Some of them live southeast of Selmo. These 40-kilometer type metrics, half-hour metrics, none of that was really fully understood. Or the opportunity for curbside garbage, or this or that. I think there are so many issues left hanging because it was all compressed into a joint resource meeting that in fairness, it does deserve another look. This was kind of the nuclear option. So I think the director is well founded in asking Central to reject this and maybe look at a kinder, gentler approach instead of just saying the door's shut up, take and do.
Thank you. Process-wise, I'll just remind us, we're also not in a sub-regional committee conversation here. So if we want to get into different actions, we're welcome to defeat this, but I would suggest we move any further discussion to a central conversation, just in terms of timing.
Chair, procedure?
Procedure question?
Yes. At what point could this be referred to Central Resource Recovery Committee?
Anytime.
Okay, thanks.
Davidoff, you are next.
Yeah, I support Director Cunningham's request, and I don't think I've ever seen like what happened here. We always review, we always take steps carefully and respectfully, and I support Director Cunningham's comments and believe that we should vote this down and entertain a motion from Director Cunningham for a review. Thank you.
Thank you. Vandenberg?
Mine was on process. I think it's getting answered though. Not that I don't disagree with Director Cunningham, but it's then bringing in another motion. Is that an acceptable procedure? And then I'm hearing that it ought to go to sub-region for further consideration. So in terms of process, we had a big discussion on it yesterday. So do we then allow another motion to come in? Is there another process for that? I'm just wanting to know what the process.
My recommendation would be that if this motion is defeated, we would do a notice of motion that could go to a central committee meeting, where that's essentially what we're saying is it needs a sub-regional conversation. So if this is defeated, that would be my recommendation to the table, is we don't have a sub-regional conversation here and it goes to a central meeting. So Papa?
Just a question on process. Would it be
Is it going to be the same question?
a little bit different?
Okay.
Would it be appropriate for Director Cunningham to introduce that motion at this table?
We could move it as a notice of motion that gets directed to central. We'll figure it out.
Okay, so the question is at this table rather than a notice of motion or
We
whatever.
will figure it out. Let's deal with this motion. Thank you. I'm on the list as well. I did want to note, this is from the regional, I'm not going to say I'm opposed to what Director Cunningham's asking, but in terms of process, this is from the efficiency study we did. This does include review. The first one we closed was Kootenay, and we did that last year based on that review. This is coming from that same review. The review has been done. This is based on the recommendation. Doesn't mean we have to act on it, but there absolutely has been a review. All of this is based on the efficiency study. So I just wanted to ensure we're clear. This has been a review. This was the recommendation. Page for.
I'm in support of implementing what we've done with the efficiency study, but it sounds like there needs to be more conversation, and I think it's writing procedure to just simply move a motion of referral to central at this point.
Yes, so those are the.
This question, as it's.
Okay, thank you.
To central, I would move that down.
You're moving referral to central?
Yeah.
Is there a second on that?
I'll second.
Okay, so on referral to central resource recovery, discussion on referral, and that would be participants only?
To the chair, yes, same voting as the motion.
Okay, thank you.
Therefore, should you second? You can't second.
No.
No, she can second it.
Central, anyone can second it, so
I'm not part of central.
but you can second the motion, it's at the table. We're good. We're referring this to central, is the motion on the floor. Central Resource Recovery Committee members, all those in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Those opposed. That refers to central. Thank you. Good work, everybody.
Hence no water. So we
Yes.
move up to the fifth recommendation, which again is that you're going to approve this. Participants only rated, once again, central. The board direct moved to the board direct staff to implement adjustment to the operating hours at Central Salmo Transfer Station in April 2026 as per the staff report recommendation.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. And Boswell and Crawford.
So this one is East Resource Recovery, participants only weighted. I moved the board direct staff to implement adjustments to the operating hours at Boswell, Crawford, and transfer stations in April 2026 as per the staff report.
Second, Vandenberg. Thank you. Discussion? All those in favor of East Resource? We're good. Anybody opposed from East? Thank you. That passes.
The last recommendation is all vote weighted. I move the board approve RDCK release funds to the Town of Creston for the design and septic receiving facility to be constructed in the Town of Creston wastewater plant for maximum value of $116,059 and as follows in the agenda.
Seconding that, Cunningham?
Yes, I'd like to speak to two.
Go ahead.
Thank you. I got a question to the staff. I do have a concern because, we did a similar thing in Selma a number of years ago in the area G $50,000 to the town of Selma for an engineered, area for which we could do, the septic when it was a maximum of 2 loads a week or something. But in any case, it turned out that one load upset the whole bacterial balance of the system. And, that was only ever the one load that it ever took.
Can you reference specifically what you're concerned with in this motion related to Creston?
Yeah, with regard to this motion, I am just urging the members to, with caution, to proceed so that indeed they have a satisfactory outlook because it didn't work for us.
Julie, any?
For me, through the
Yeah.
chair, the treatment plant in Creston is already accepting that material, so there's no change. Even what they are accepting.
That is fine. Okay, thank you. I didn't know
Thank you. Further discussion? All vote weighted, all those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Sure.
Newell?
Just turning you to the chair of, Right Resource. Wasn't there a motion on closing Ryandale's satellite recycling?
That was referred to East Resource Recovery
Thank you.
Committee. Thank you. 4.2.1 committees and commissions. This is area H. Would you like to move your motion?
Yes, I would, with a slight change in the wording.
Go ahead.
And the wording is that the board appoint the individual to the following RDCK, and you strike commissions, just committee.
So the motion is to the Community Advisory Committee.
Yes.
That's the motion on the, you're reading the intro. So area H, South Parks and Recreation Community Advisory Committee. for term 2, so it is the CAC.
Okay, so,
And the name is right?
yes.
Thank you. Do we have a second? Thank you. Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay, we are at correspondence. We got about 20 minutes. Is there anyone who would like to pull any correspondence? Give me the name and number. Newell,
Process question.
process question, go ahead.
In regard to items 5.2 and 5.3, both of which relate to service, maybe S202.
I can answer your question. The recommendation is that someone from that committee refer these to your next committee meeting.
Can I do it as a block?
Yes, you can.
Could I do that now?
You can.
Keeping in mind? Then I'd like to move that 5.2 and 5.3 are moved to the appropriate committees.
Is there a second? McKellar, that was your question. Thank you. Discussion? Carly, you got that?
Yeah.
It's the, go ahead, Stuart.
Through the chair, the Nelson Salmo EFG Parks.
Thank you. All those in favor? Opposed? Okay. So that is referred to, you got that, McLaren? Page?
I know it's referred, it is addressed to the board, so just, it's a highlight for the members here. Obviously, well, Nelson and residents of Nelson pay the predominance of service fees that fund the regional parks. Over 52%, 54, 55% of the parks funding comes from the city of Nelson in those rural areas. This act is really about funding parity, and so while we will discuss it at next week, it will eventually at some point, depending on what that conversation is, return back. So just to highlight that integrated nature of how we do these things together.
Thank you. Any other correspondence, not 5.2 or 5.3? Anyone would like to discuss?
5.4 has a recommendation. You want that?
Let's just see if anyone wants to talk about 5.1 and then we'll go on. Okay, 5.4, go ahead, Jackman.
Well, I just would move that recommendation. The board sent a letter of support for the grant application to CDP.
Second that.
Thank you. Discussion? I did do quite a bit background, so we know what we're doing with this one. The grant has already been applied, but we own the building. That's why we need to do this. Further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. And 5.5, there is a request there, but it's up to the director if you would like to pull this correspondence and discuss and or make a motion. All right, moving on. 6.1, this is for adoption, Sanka Park. Do you have any questions before you move your motion, Director Jackman?
Nope.
Go ahead.
I move adoption as per the recommendation.
Do we have a second? Thank you. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Area H, this is for third time by content. This is the regulatory one, so A, B, and C are included in this one. Should you move forward, the next one will be the service establishment for H. Go ahead, Papa.
Yeah, I move the recommendation.
Thank you.
Stated.
Second, are you seconding Hewitt?
Yeah, for discussion.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just being nitpicky, but
Sorry, 1 second. David off, can you mute?
Oh, sorry.
No problem. Thank you. Go ahead, Hewitt.
under, so on bullet 8, 2.2A on the bylaw, just the wording on the first bullet is somewhat awkward because of it, I put in to change the wording used to the same as in B, that aggressive behavior toward another dog or animal or humans, because it says it makes us humans sound like animals.
Yeah.
It just it just seemed awkward, and then the wording changed for the next bullet in there, just so for
Okay.
consistency and. Yeah.
So in terms of third reading, who's the staff on this and are they catching this?
So through the chair, the motion should actually be withdrawn and then we can reread it as amended based on any small changes like that.
So once we do 3 reading, it needs to be set. So I'm going to recommend Director Popoff as the mover. Will you withdraw it? And then we can move it as amended with that change, which is a wording change.
And can we do it at this meeting through the chair?
Yes.
Okay.
So the
So I guess
motion
that's
is,
providing
Not a
that's
problem.
agreed to.
Yeah, no, it's not a problem. It's a good catch. So as the seconder, you agree to that withdrawal? That's you, Hewitt?
Yes, yes.
Okay, thanks. So motion is withdrawn for the moment. Now will you move it? Well, let's just check. Is there any other changes in the wording that need to be addressed before we move third? Okay, Sangeeta, I just want to make sure you've caught what this change is. Or Stuart, you'll note it. Okay, thank you. Pop-up, can you move it as amended, please?
I move it as amended.
Thank you. Second, Hewitt. Carly, you got that?
Yeah, I'll double check the wording.
Okay, Stuart's got the wording.
Yeah.
Okay,
The wording for the motion, through the chair, the wording for the motion would just be third reading as amended.
Okay.
The change doesn't need to be in the motion.
good work, team. Discussion. Jackman.
Yeah, this is a little bit general, but this bylaw, as you noted, is more than one area.
Yes.
And in my mind, there may be another path as well, get to a similar place. So I'm just hoping that the municipal partners on this board, if we have further conversation about this as well, I would very much look forward to them bringing to us, how are they dealing with dangerous dogs, aggressive dogs? I know some municipalities such as Kamloops, they did use province-wide with their dealings and how things have gone in the past. I think that'd be very valuable information. This will no doubt come back to RAC. We had municipal input on other paths, or a more broad wall-to-wall, region-wide sort of approach.
Thank you. Can you note that? Thank you. Further discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. The next one is only Area H. And this is the service establishment. I believe the wording was correct in this one. Director Hewitt, is that what you were just catching it before we move?
Yeah.
Thank you for reading that so clearly. So detailed. Pop up over to you.
Yeah, so there are 4 recommendations. Can I move them as a block?
No, not for bylaw.
Okay, so I move the first recommendation, that the electoral area dangerous and aggressive dog control service establishment bylaw number 3066/2025 be read a third time by content.
Second, thank you, Weatherhead. Discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
And the second recommendation, that the participating area approval for electoral area H dangerous and aggressive dog control service establishment bylaw number 3066/25 be undertaken by assent voting. And I'd like to clarify that there were questions on that assent.
Can you just wait 1 second? Is there a second? Motion's on the floor. Go ahead.
Okay, just to clarify that for the understanding of people that are participating in this, I'm pretty sure the directors understand assent voting means a referendum.
It can mean either or. In this case, it is a referendum. It can mean an AAP as well. Assent vote just means you need to go to the public. So you're specifically requesting a referendum in
That's
this one.
specifically requesting a referendum.
Yeah. I did want to note, I inquired if this does not go through, usually when you do a referendum or an AAP, once the service is approved, that service pays for those costs. If it does not go through, it goes through general admin. Further discussion on the motion. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried?
Could I just clarify?
Yes.
I thought I would confuse things. When is this vote supposedly taking place?
The report includes a timeline and it breaks down every piece. So I think it's by May.
Okay.
Number 3.
Okay. The board appoint Tom Buell as chief election officer and Angela Lund as deputy chief election officer for the electoral area H dangerous dog, et cetera, et cetera. I've read that before.
Thank you. Do we have a second? Thank you. Weatherhead. Discussion. Again, the layout on what they will do and when they will do it is all in the report. Thank you. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. And the next one is the question that goes to the assent. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I did read out the question or, okay, so I move that recommendation.
Thank you. Do we have a second? Weatherhead. And just being clear, we're on number 4. This is the question that goes on the ballot. Discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. And what was 6.4? Okay, Selmo and Area G swimming pool financial aid. Would you like to move that, Director McKellar? Move seconded, Cunningham. Cunningham, are you seconding that?
Yeah, oh, yes, yes,
Okay.
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay, thank you. David, you wanted to speak to this one?
No, 6.4 and 6.5, Chair.
We are on 6.4.
Oh, I'm sorry, 6.5 and 6.6. I
Okay,
typo.
no problem. This is an all vote. Further discussion? All those in favor? Did you have a question, Cunningham?
No, it's, okay, no, my question is not, it's just a bylaw, it's not a money thing, so it's all, got it.
Oh, it's for adoption. You can't talk about it anymore. Sorry. Sorry. Let me get on track here. Anybody opposed? Thank you. Bylaw 3061. This is also for adoption. So Director Davidoff, I'll take your question now.
Yeah, so I just question to staff, I guess maybe to the CAO. On October 22nd, staff requested and I declined to approve bylaw number, give my consent for approval of bylaw number 3061 for the reasons I enunciated at the Castle District Rec Commission and board meetings. So basically here, I guess I'm opposed to this motion and for the reason I stated. So that's all I'm going to say. And I'd like to record it opposed, please.
Okay, we will note that when we get there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can you go ahead and mute Director Davidoff?
Yeah, I was just going to speak on the next one, so that's what.
Okay, thank you. So the motion, once it's on the floor, because it's adoption, we don't speak to it. Hanegraaff or Bogle, do you have anything else you want to ask, or are you ready to move a motion?
We're ready to move the motion.
Moved by Bogle, seconded by Hanegraaff. All those in favor? Opposed? We have Davidoff recorded opposed. Carleen? Any other opposition? Okay. And the next one's also for adoption. So go ahead, Director Davidoff, you wanted to speak to this?
I'm not going to repeat what I said. Same reasons. Okay. So just I'm going to be I'm opposed to this. Thank you, Chair. I recorded opposed.
Thank you, Director Davidoff. Bogle and Hanegraaff?
I will move the motion.
I'll second.
All right. All those in favor? This is an all vote. And those opposed, we've got Davidoff recorded. Any other opposition? Thank you. That passes. What time are we at? All right. 6.7, this is the enforcement notice and dispute adjudication system. So when we update our resource recovery bylaw, we automatically have to update this one for numbers and schedules. So this is only that adjustment. Any questions and or are we ready for a motion?
I'll move 3 readings for second, third.
Thank you. Do we have a second? Thank you, Hewitt. Discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. And the next one? Move adoption. Thank you. Second, Hewitt. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Bylaw 3071. This is our annual temporary borrowing. Any questions and we're ready to move the motion? Moved it. Thank you. Seconded. Discussion. Was that a question or just seconding Hewitt? Okay. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. And for adoption. Thank you. Moved and seconded. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay. Diane, I did see you come in. We're going to do our morning break so that I'm not rushing you through the next piece. So like 10 minutes? Okay, thank you. And you're welcome to stick around and hang out. Thank you. So we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. Yeah. Thank you, Vice Chair McLaren Cove, for keeping me on time. 5 minutes over. Carly, you're good? Yeah. We're recording? Thank you. All right. So we are on item 7.1.1. This is the Home Safe Program. Sign up. is going to introduce, we have two presenters from the city of Nelson who we are partnering with on this program. So they're quasi delegation, but they are delivering for us. So they're embedded in the body of the agenda today. And we've got Carmen and Theo with us. So Sina, over to you, please.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, everyone. So the green program earlier is now being relaunched as the Home Safe program, and it will be presented by Theo, the Energy Program Lead, and Carmen, Energy and Climate Manager from City of Nelson. RDCK is in partnership with them. Theo has a presentation, so I will let Theo give the presentation first, and then we will have a question and answer now. Thank you.
Thank you, Sina. So Carly, Theo's going to share from his screen.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Cheryl. Director Graham. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Theo Hardy. Thanks to be here today, and thank you for your time and making space for us in your schedule. I'm the Energy Program Lead from the City of Nelson. I work on the County Energy team, and that means that I'm responsible for the Energy Retrofit Program, the presidential Energy Retrofit Program that we have operated out of the city for a number of years. This was the Regional Energy Efficiency Program, and we deliver it for the residents of the City of Nelson as well as the residents of all of the regional districts. So today I'm here to give you a program update as I preface that we are relaunching our program with some new services. And what we wanted to do is we wanted to bring everybody up to speed, make sure that you have a full understanding of what the program offers are, not just what the program offers were, but what they're going to be. We have been working hard behind the scenes over the last little while to secure some additional funding for this program, cooked up a few new offers that should be very fun and exciting for our residents. And we just want to make sure that everybody has a good idea of what is coming around the corner. This is, to be fair, this is not the official program launch. That is kind of coming up in the near future. But for now, this is that, awareness presentation. So I'm going to go ahead. We're going to talk about the existing program. We'll talk about the new features, the funding, some of the next steps and what's coming. But we're going to start by addressing the program name. And I'm really, really happy to introduce everybody here today to Home Safe Central Kootenay, where we help people to save energy and to save money. As Saina had prefaced, we use for the Regional Energy Efficiency Program. If you want to just briefly mention, if you don't likely choose to change the program name, we made a lot of clear-headed thought about this, and we really did our homework on it and wanted to make sure that we had a program name that was going to be easy, communicable, and going to be friendly and outgoing, and going to be effective for our public outreach. Regional Energy Efficiency Program was around for a long time. It's a great program, but the name is a little bit of a mouthful and hasn't proven to be the most effective. So we took the opportunity as we were scaling up and creating a new program offer that was going to be able to go out to the residents with a new offer to rebrand as Home Safe Central Kootenay. The name is really specifically chosen. We wanted to make sure that people understood our focus is on helping people to retrofit their homes, to make them more energy efficient, save money, operational costs, and in the process of retrofitting. We added Central Kootenay into the name of the program name directly to make sure that people understood that this is a program for the whole RDCK. Everybody in the RDCK is eligible for this program. There should be no questions about that. Everybody can apply for it. So, Home Safe Central Kootenay, I'm proud to present this to you today. And I'm just going to make a point to make sure everybody understands that Home Safe Central Kootenay is for everybody in the regional district of Central Kootenay, whether you are in Nelson or Nikas, Salmo or Sanka, or Weimer to Argenta. Within the boundaries of the RDCK, you are eligible for it, and there are no restrictions on geography, on income or demographic, housing type when it comes to applying for receiving our core services. There are going to be a few services and features and offers that we do have that will have some eligibility restrictions on them, but the core of our program is universally accessible and available and free for everybody. So let's just take a minute to review what the core of HomeSave is. So at its core, HomeSave is an energy retrofit support service. We're there to help people go from start to finish with an energy retrofit on their home, giving them information, resources, guidance, helping answer their questions, and pointing them in the right direction. One of the ways that I found it's effective for communicating what it is that we do is by calling it a matchmaking service, which is a bit of a misnomer, but a matchmaking service is an effective way of communicating. What we can do is we can help people to optimize their rebates by providing them guidance and information and pointing them in the right direction. Like any matchmaking service, it's still up to the people that get matched to go out and go on a date. You know, you still have to get a contractor, you still have to do all of the work on your house, you still have to apply for all those rebates, and there's a lot of onus on you as a participant. But what our program can do is take that first lift off your plate. And ideally, we can line up all of the hoops that you're going to be jumping through for rebates so that you're only jumping once or as few times as possible. So this is the core. This is what we have offered in the past and what we continue to offer and what we're building upon. But we've got new stuff coming, so let's talk about the new and exciting and fun parts of the program that are coming. So first up, we're going to talk about our HomeSave retrofit rebate, which is for the first time we're going to be able to offer a rebate directly from us to our program participants. This is the bonus rebate. So one thing I'd like to just sort of point out is that rebates kind of come in two different flavors, typically. Two different flavors. There's a standard single measure rebate. This is the sort of thing that you're most familiar with when you've looked at the rebate that Clean BC or Ford BC offers. These are things like heat pump or window rebates, where you're going to get money back for a specific measure done in a specific way that meets specific eligibility criteria. The other flavor of rebate out there is called bonus rebate. These are things that kind of get spread over the top, and the idea is that people will pursue a number of the single measure rebates and then acquire a bonus rebate at the top to further incentivize. It's the idea of trying to get people to do multiple things, to go into a deep energy retrofit, do more, get more back. So what we're offering here is performance-based rebate. And here's how it works. So we are going to measure your home energy usage before and after your retrofit with an guided evaluation. And then we're going to take the difference between your top level source, the score that's measured in the number of gigajoules your home is projected per year or model. If you can achieve a minimum of a 20% improvement in your home's whole home energy efficiency, then we can rebate you up to $2,500. If you're able and interested and willing to go further, and you can get a 50% or greater improvement on your home energy efficiency rating, then we're able to go even higher and rebate up to $5,000. So we do require a minimum energy reduction. We do want to make sure that people are making an effort to go a little bit further and to go a little bit deeper. But the rebates are structured intentionally in order to incentivize the deeper energy retrofits without being overly difficult to access. There's another thing that's very interesting about the rebate that I would really like to point out. It's primarily a bonus rebate. The idea is that we're going to get people who are already planning to do a number of other retrofits, and we're going to go through the rebate process for those retrofits already. The idea is that you're going to do, a heat pump in your windows and your insulation, and you will get a rebate for each of those measures. And then you will come back to us and you'll get this layered over top as a bonus rebate from HomeSave to further increase the amount of money you're going to get back for your retrofits and decrease that upfront cost. But we've been kind of clever about the way that we structured this rebate. So it's primarily a bonus, but it can also operate as a standalone. We were very broad in our eligibility criteria for what retrofits will qualify for our rebate. The single measure rebates tend to be very specific about the types of this, the list of things. We went very broad by going whole home, and so this actually allows us to offer the rebate for things that aren't covered by single measures in our area. So that's very notably for us, solar panel units. If you are in BC Hydro service territory up in the north, you've had access to that for a long time. You get solar panel battery rebates from BC Hydro. But for the rest of the regional district, which is in forest territory, those are not available. And we've heard loud and clear from our participants that they would really like access to those. So we're closing that gap with this rebate right here, where people will be able to get $2,500 or $5,000 back if they're pursuing solar panel and battery upgrades as well. So a little bit of an extra bonus on top of a bonus. The second new program feature that we are going to be offering and rolling out is a new financing offer. So this is going to be done in partnership with the Nelson and District Credit Union. We've been entering into agreement with them to provide financing in the form of an advance loan for up to $40,000 at a prime plus interest rate. This is really nice actually. They're very supportive of the program, very supportive of the residents in our region, and they really do see the value in helping people to maximize the energy efficiency in their homes and reduce that cost. They're trying to support community homes. Now, there's a couple things that I do want to point out about this loan features that I think are very handy, useful for people. The first is that it is an advance loan. For the most part, when you're out in the wild and you're looking for retrofit financing, what you're going to find are post-retrofit loans, things that require you to do the work, pay up front, submit all your receipts, and then you get the money. So that requires you to have $42,000 on hand or accessible enough within short notice to be able to pay your contract. Some of them will provide an advance in order to put down some deposits, but for the most part, they're billed as post-retrofit loans. This will allow you to take out money in advance so that you can decrease that cost right up front and spread it out over a longer period of time. The second very cool feature of this is that it is same broad eligibility criteria, so that means that we can cover slightly things that are slightly adjacent to the typical retrofit. So if you have ancillary measures or supporting measures that are, resilience measures or things like you need to do some drywall because you got a service upgrade for your electrical panel to support heat pump, you can loan for that as well. You can loan for slightly more than what was already there. Now, I'm going to be very clear. Financing is not required to take part in our program. You do not need to take out a loan in order to access our core services or the retrofit rebate. Optional. They are to help people if they choose to pursue it. For those who are still living in the city of Nelson, they do still have access to Nelson Hydro financing offer. That still remains. But for a regional program, we want something that's going to be regionally acceptable for everybody. So how does it all fit together? We start with the resident. We want to understand what their picture is, where they're starting with, what their bills are looking like. We can help them to build a plan. We can go through that matchmaking process. We do this via email or phone or Teams chats or however we can communicate with you. We're very flexible. They work for people and meet them where they're at. When we go through that standard process, the core process that we've already had, then you get to stack the homes get rebate on top at the end, and ultimately proceed through your whole retrofit process, knowing you're going to get as much back as you possibly can. We're going to skip through because we want to get some time here. So we are being funded by a grant from the Federation of Canadian Municipalities, up to $2.52 million in order to fund program operations over a 4-year period, fund rebates, outreach, everything. The other thing that they're providing to us is a loan loss reserve, and this is the carrot that we provide to you in order to have them offer better than market rates for interest in terms of a loan. This is just shy of $1 million, and it's used to backstop in the unfortunate and unlikely event that somebody were to default on a loan. We don't had access to that and might be asking for the two worst case scenarios. Any grant comes with targets. So we have a target of supporting at least 150 home energy retrofit projects and at least 60 sustainable pay at least. Should we leave those minimum targets, we will reduce the energy in the region at least, again, by a minimum 4,800 gigajoules per year and 136 tons CO2 equivalent per year. These are conservative numbers. At the same time, we have a number of supporting agreements that are necessary in order to make sure the program is funded and structured properly. We have a partnership with NDCU in order to provide below market interest rates on loans. We are pursuing an agreement with Correspondence for some complementary funding, which we will use to offset the cost of energy evaluations, which are required for rates. Simultaneously, we have an agreement with NRCan in order to access and use the energy framework. We have an agreement with Clear Result Canada. This is an NRCan registered service organization which we use to deliver the energy evaluations that measure our resident performance. All of these are essential and necessary and have been very important for building our partnership and the network that supports us. So, as I said up at the top, this is not the program launch. There's a number of steps we still have to take, including at the start notifying our partners in advance of the program launch, such as this kind of conversation, and then we're going to be repeating this with other partners as we go and get ready for launch. We need to prepare updated website material, prepare programming material so that we can easily communicate all of this, and then begin an actual outreach to the public. With the entire goal of launching this within Q1 of 2026, we do not have a firm date set right now, but it will be within Q1 and as soon as possible. So with that, I'm going to wrap up and I'm just going to put in one quick request and ask is that I hope that you can help spread the word within your districts to your residents, to our potential participants. This program is out there and to help. So with that, one says thank you very much for your time, and if you have any questions, I'm happy to take them.
Thank you, Theo. So we do have quite a speakers list. Just a couple again to remind you, the MOU will come back in February. It's going to adjust. The primary adjustment is that Fortis BC is not going to be a grant to us. It's going to be direct to the City of Nelson, so that'll be adjusted in the MOU. So we've got McLaren Co, Graham, Newell, Hewitt, Vandenberg. There is no motion on this today. So just recall that if there is a lot of questions and things, they're going to take notes and we can bring them back next month as well. McLaren Co.
Thanks, Chair. And through the Chair, thanks for the presentation. Just two quick questions for you. We've had experience with a lot of similar programs over the past several years. My first question is the pre and post retrofit evaluations. How deep is that subsidy? Because that can, when you're talking $1,000 or $2,000, that can be almost that amount for both. And my second question is, I did see contractors noted in the report, but is there a pre-approved contractor list? And the reason I ask is because in rural and kind of far-flung locations, it can be very difficult to secure pre-qualified contractors to do this kind of work. Thanks.
Great questions. So yeah, totally well put. They are expensive. It can get up to about $1,000. What we're looking to do is to reduce the upfront cost for the first the first evaluation, which is about $625 plus tax. We're going to reduce that down to $99. So $99 plus tax to the resident. The second evaluation is $300, and that will have to be borne by the resident. The idea in subsidizing the pre and not the post is that we want people to be able to get into the program and take the biggest burden off their plate so that they know what's possible. And then the post retrofit is, it's only going to be the people who have actually finished the retrofit who are going to be getting another rebate from it already. So that does reduce the overall return that you're getting from the rebate a little bit, but you're already getting $5,000 back to offset $300 cost. This is consistent with what the federal government did when they did Canada Green Homes, when they gave about $600 in subsidies for energy evaluations at that time. Your second question on contractor list, we do not have that in our program. We don't have an approved contractor list. However, our program is basically built around supporting other programs, and those programs often do have approved contractor lists, such as like the energy savings program that's run through BC, Fortis, Hydro. That has an approved contractor list, and we have access to all those lists. We have access to lists of everybody that's on HPSC approved contractor list, the CESP contractor list. So we're trying to point people to those contractors that have more qualifications already.
If I could just add to that, in some cases, people do require getting that rebate and they have to use an approved contractor. And we continue to work with the other regional districts in this whole region to advocate for more contractors and put more boots on the ground to encourage contractors to sign up for that program and become qualified.
Thank you. Director Graham.
Thank you. Really good change from rate to music. One. Just one concern that jumps out at me with this, with your financing is just going through a single, like you know, we're government and to be seen as backing one single financer as opposed to if there was more than one, like if I work at another financial organization, I might be offended that it's only being coming through one. So that's a little bit of a flag for me. And I have experience with these retail financing programs in my past. And some of, I'm not saying this is happening, but I will say what has happened in the past with these types of things is it's used as a customer acquisition stream. And the customers are required to come in and set up an account and pay monthly account fees and these types of things. So I have a concern, this is a flag coming up, that there's only one. I'd be wondering if this is, it sounds like it's unsecured financing, but typically these home improvement loans are secured. And just again, that they would have to go in person, and that may be a challenge for people in other areas to have to come to Nelson. So if there was any other way to bring in another financing partner that was maybe a little more accessible to the other areas of the regional district would be a suggestion.
Yeah, great suggestion. We have had some initial discussions with other institutions within the regional district. At this time, ECU is the one that wants to move forward, but we are free to pursue other financial institutions and bring them on board with the same terms as they want to do. We understand that it's kind of like a customer acquisition period, and if you have the point that is the most correct. But you know, we are aware that these are very much community-minded credit unions, and they want to support the community. They don't want customers from other credit unions.
Yeah, well, the NDC's idea is actually to involve all of the credit unions in the region. And they did meet with us and they decided to see how this goes before they, and just to see what the appetite and stuff like that is for financing in their regions and stuff like that. But they're very interested in not being the only one. So this is the only one that we have secured right now, but we will definitely pursue additional ones. And the reason they can do an unsecured loan is because of the funding stream from SEM and providing that backstop in the event of a loan.
Thank you. Director No.
Yeah, thanks. Quick question. If, apropos to our meeting yesterday about secondary suites, if a house has a secondary suite, can they be dealt with separately?
Metered separately and can be isolated from the primary house as maybe possible.
Okay, just curious from yesterday's conversation. Thanks.
Thank you, through the chair. I have two questions. If somebody signs up for the initial assessment and after the assessment has been conducted, if the energy savings won't meet the minimum goal, do they still get the discounted rate for that first assessment?
Yes.
And my second one is under one of your bullets, it says that you provide assistance with meeting the goals. For the solar retrofits, will you assist residents who have applied for the solar installations to ensure that what they're wanting to do will be in compliance with local bylaws? Because some might have bylaws regarding visuals. If it's in a certain zone within the municipality.
Yeah, that's a good question. Actually, I would have to look into that a little bit further. But we do work with the bylaw offices within all the municipalities. We have all these contacts with them, so it's good address it if it's an issue.
We definitely encourage people to pull permits, when they're required to. Thank you.
And Vandenberg, you get the last one.
Great, thank you. Thank you for the presentation through the chair. My question is around the DIY types, the owner builder type people. Are they then not eligible? I didn't hear any of that come up in your presentation. And I guess directly connected to that, in order for me to build my new house, which I did, I had to be approved by BC Housing that I was confident in doing so, in order to step out and do that. So, does your program allow for that type of person to participate?
Yes, with certain limitations. So we allow for DIY participants. People are allowed to do their own installations. The one area we're a little bit wary of is when people get into electrical and mechanical upgrades, specifically like if they're trying to install a heat pump and they don't have the qualifications and experience to do so. We don't want people to get hurt. We don't want to be in a position of trying to encourage people to do things that may damage things by subsidizing that. So we allow for DIY for the vast majority of things, except for mechanical and electrical, because I'm not going to touch it. That being said, because we tie into the other rebate programs, it's a bit of a we allow it and they don't situation. Because the other rebate programs typically do not allow for DIY in order to gain access to the rebate, whereas we will.
However, the DIY is a certified contractor who also wants to do work on the house, then that would be fine. What Theo's referencing by external rebates is rebates through Boards BC, BC Hydro, and Clean BC. We don't have anything to do with those programs, other than we can advocate for our residents in this area if we have any concerns with that.
Thank you. Thank you, Carmen and Theo. We look forward to seeing the MOU next month, and we'll discuss at that time if we need to have you back for any other questions. And directors are welcome to reach out to Sina if you have questions for the program as well, and she can direct them to Carmen and Theo. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you very much.
Safe drive home. That was my joke of the day. That was terrible because you're in Melbourne. Theo, yeah, thank you. Okay, folks, we're on 7.1.4. This is the procurement funding for Kootenay Food Council. This is the one you were referencing earlier, Director Weatherhead. If you wanted to go ahead, or anyone else want to go on the speakers list or move a motion. Jackman? Go ahead.
Open?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not going to move the recommendation right away. The reason I spoke to the other one is they talked in core funding for this entity, and a lot of what they do is communication with networks. And I stated there are other ways of communicating with networking. I appreciate the chair's comments around building a system. But building that system does involve people down the farm advisors, because it gets people talking to each other. They talk about the products, they talk about the needs, they also talk about their marketing and full marketing. And so the big gap I see here is going back to say the Crescent Valley Food Hub, where deals forward. This is very much leaning in one side. And even though we brought up some of these questions about, and I think David's comments were, yeah, we talked to everybody. This still seems to lean very heavily into the West. And I don't see the reassurance that this funding, on top of the core funding, is really going to be broad-based or won't be a duplicate. Because some of the things that I see noted here are very much being done by others, assessing grocery food waste and looking at what that looks like. That's being done elsewhere, and looking at the redistribution systems. We have involvement with other groups other than this, with helping the schools out get food, food waste, like fruit and stuff like that. That's supported. So again, I question if they're saying to the lead across the regional district and broad regional district funding. So far, I don't believe they've been the way that they could be. Or we should be splitting some of this funding off and recognizing the work of other groups.
Thank you. Sangeeta, page on Motherhood, please. Sangeeta, I did see you kind of popping over. I know Paris is away, so is there anything you want to speak to on this as the staff lead? You don't have to. Just saw you doing that, so I didn't know.
I just wanted to clarify that this program was vetted through Amy Wilson, so social recovery staff are aware of it, and the intention is that it's intended to pull food waste out of the recycled and separate out the food waste, like a yogurt container that might have yogurt. Remove the yogurt, recycle the container. Right now, most people just throw the whole thing into the garbage. So that's the simplest way I can explain it. That's the part of the intention of this program. I just want to clarify that.
Okay, we've got Paige, Weatherhead, McLaren Co. Sorry, can you put Vandenberg on there? Paige, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. I was looking at the proposed solutions and specifically around the policy piece, and I was wondering if we could provide some feedback or if staff can answer. When we're looking at assessing waste, improving pathways, implementing recovery and distribution, what I don't see here is recommendations back to local government, whether it's the RDCK or individual municipalities on potential policy, bylaws, pieces that would support the execution of this entire procurement network. Because there's got to be certain pieces where we could have more jurisdictional management and a bit of a stick to go with the carrots.
In terms of the policy work this council has done, they actually started with that as their mandate, was making recommendations to local governments, specific to the procurement program.
Yeah.
I think that's a piece of feedback we can provide. As far as I know, they were going to flag those, but I can't say 100%. It's a good catch. Did you note that, Sangeeta? Okay, thank you. Weatherhead, go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. So I just to reiterate that SD10 does fall outside of the United Way funding through this to get that support to our school district. However, our school district does seem to be getting funding elsewhere and has a very robust food program. And so I know that it is the hope of Food Council to secure future connections, but in this pilot, SD10 will not be a participant because it's problematic. It isn't as complexities that this won't fit into this pilot, so it won't be part of this pilot. And in terms of the rest of it, I haven't really got a handle on how that fits either. Again, for Area K, specifically, but Village of Kootenay have some different connection to this. So this was a tough one for me to support, I guess, at this time.
Thank you. McLaren Co.
Thanks, Chair. I just want to speak to some of the comments from other directors. I mean, if what Director Weatherhead said about School District 10, that involves the CASPA, and notwithstanding the fact that it may or may not benefit my community, I think there's regional benefit. It's not dissimilar to the immigration pilot we talked about before. I understand that the Crescent Valley has a very robust agricultural sector. Other parts of the regional district do not and would love to. So in terms of the way it's funded, maybe it needs to be funded not from S100. But I would hope that the parts of the region that need support in developing their agricultural sector aren't stymied by the fact that other parts of the region have a thriving agricultural sector. And to Director Page's point and Chair Watson's point about how municipalities and local governments can get involved, there from 4 or 5 years ago there exists, I'm looking at it right now, the Food Security Action Plan with an implementation plan. So it's not specifically to this distribution project, but they already have deep reports on how local governments can get involved.
Thank you. Vandenberg.
Yes, thank you. I kind of, where do I start on this? So SD8, the United Way is not supporting it. Our local chapter, Feels Forward, is already integrated into so much of this. This is an overlap. I think I would rather dedicate funds towards the rapid food hub, organics collection, the storage and transportation that they're trying to set up to be able to move meat food and be available to other portions around RDCK. Trying to work with this group is what they are focused on trying to do. But I think at this point in time, this funding should not be S100. It doesn't help us in the valley. Certainly, our groups down there are very open-minded to share the information. So I have a hard time supporting this when I can't support the efforts of what's happening back in Crescent Valley.
Thank you. We have Hewitt, no motion on the floor. If we don't want to do it, we don't even have to move a motion. So Hewitt, go ahead.
All right, thank you through the chair. In response to this, people reacting on it being, it doesn't benefit me. Director Vandenberg referenced a program that was funded by other directors who were not going to be directly beneficiaries of a program, Fields Forward. That was supported by an entire group because it was good for the region. So I'm arguing that it should, in fact, be an S100, and if it goes forward, I think that I would support it. Even if my area, there's a lot of things that I, as a director for Caslo, will support because it's good for the region and not what's in it for me.
Did you want to move the motion?
Sure.
On the floor. Graham, go ahead.
Thank you. I like this. I think it's worthwhile. I disagree with the S100 financing through taxation. I would be happy to support this through a grant program like community development, but we already have added $40,000 to our tax burden in S100 this morning, and now we're about to add another 20. So I just, at this point, like I would really say for this program, I would prefer to put together at the table and fund this $20,000 through grants and not through S100. So I won't be supporting it.
Thank you. McLaren Cove for a second time, so I'm going to go to Jackman for the first. Go ahead.
To the motion, actually. That motion's on the floor, so to the motion.
Yep.
My question again, this is the best group. I don't disagree with expanding the knowledge and using the kind of beneficial arrangement that we see in Crescent Valley and helping other areas develop a more robust agricultural sector, and also to share the food waste, reduce our costs and expenses at our landfills. And Wilson, Manager Wilson was mentioned. To my knowledge, she hadn't talked to the Crescent group. We talked about pilot projects and stuff like that, but it doesn't seem to go beyond where we're already doing stuff like this. So the group that maybe should receive money, any money from wherever, should maybe not be this group. Maybe it should be the group that is already doing this and ask them to expand it elsewhere instead of a group trying to develop something. So it's not, it doesn't benefit me. I don't know if this is the best path to get to the highest benefit. The best path might be, say, we have a group doing this kind of stuff, fund them. Or I would see the words where this proposal is more directly linked and asking and learning from them and sharing the money. Sharing the money would be a good path. I'm not saying it's not for us, not to our benefit. I'm saying this is not the best way to do it from what I've seen so far. This is more aspirational. The other one is reality. It's happening.
McLaren Cove.
Thanks. And for the second time, thanks, Jared. I would just say that I've been the liaison, or been one of the liaisons to the now KFC for a few years now, and I was involved with it with my economic development work prior to that. And the conversations that help the rest of the region develop budding, kind of very, very basic agricultural sectors. This is the only group that I'm aware of that actually has those conversations, that provides that support to the areas that it's already a marginal proposition. Small scale farming is not worth anybody's while, or very few people's while. So having that support for a relatively very small investment, to me, seems incredibly important, especially food. I mean, we talk about food security all the time, and this is the only way that I see it happening. I don't see it going through KVFA or other organizations because they haven't proposed to do that. And as I think Chair Watson said earlier today, KVFA is about farming. This is about the system of food. They're different. They work together, absolutely, but they're different. And to Director Graham's point about funding things with grants, and this goes back to RCIP as well, the immigration pilot earlier. I totally, and I spoke to it then, I think too. I appreciate the fact that S100 maybe not the best mechanism for this, but we don't have these fragmented sub-regional discussions where 17 of 20 of us can talk about something, or 15 or 11 or 5, depending on the specific situation. So this is not the perfect mechanism, but it's the best mechanism. It's the least bad mechanism. And to say nothing of, if we had those conversations, it would take 6 months just to figure out who and how we contribute to those, like what the percentage is for how we get there. So I get the intention behind it, but I think this is the least bad option and still a good option. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to speak to this now. So food systems, I've probably repeated this many times, is my background. I've written a book on rural food security. I'm quite deeply embedded in understanding what the system design components are. When I did the North Kootenay Lake Food Shed Plan back in 2012, the #1 issue facing our farmers was distribution and the ability to create a bioregional distribution system. Anyone that goes to the store will see everything comes from really far away. And it's actually taken our farmers a good 20 years in places like the Kootenay Co-op and other entities to choose to purchase local. This specific project is actually one of the most long-standing food system issues we have had in the regional district. It's across all the places. Distribution is based on an international market. We don't live in an international market. For food to come to Caslow is almost double the price of it to get to Nelson because it's end of the line. So I have a deep background in this and I can understand the complexities of what this is. One of the primary things that I do know was taken away from the delegation in December was that Creston Brown, Creston Valley, and these other entities. Former Director Tanya Wall is on the board of this council, specifically to bring Fields Forward and the other Creston Valley organizations into the mix in a more direct way than the executive director was able to do, because he doesn't live in the area and it was difficult to kind of make those connections when people didn't know who he was. So they've directly brought them in. Fields Forward was thank you, Director Hewitt. We did provide quite a bit of funding through Community Works on their juicer and other endeavors to start that organization, and we were all happy to support it. With that, I do also agree that it's difficult when S100, like sustainability was actually the service we created to capture these. And that unfortunately has become such a sub-regional defined service that it's not as easy to put it through there because there's even few of us in that one. Grants are an option, but again, it eliminates any municipality consideration and the amounts that some have. I don't do discretionary. So there's more complexities to that. At this time, I do support this because regional food systems, if anything, is making the case for what we need to be addressing from a long-term sustainability perspective. Organics, food production, and localizing that economy is top of my list. That's all I wanted to see in the climate change plan, honestly, because food production and the ability to produce soil is incredibly critical to the climate. So while I'm not in favor of additional taxation, when I did the math on this works out to about 50 cents on 1,000 in S100. So I'm happy to support this. I don't have other speakers. Did you have anyone else? All right. Dr. Lund.
Yeah, just one quick comment. It's a little bit off topic, but it's been brought up on several of the comments. And what's different with the regional district than the experience in small municipalities is when we have ask sort of one-off, we don't have just like a general service that goes to taxation. And I think that's something, I don't know if there's a policy that could be developed or more clarity about how, as a whole board, when there's initiatives that support, that have regional support, like whether we create a service specific for those one-offs or, and you just said the sustainability service was supposed to be for these one-offs, but not everybody was participating in. There just needs to be a mechanism and clarity because it feels like there's like, oh, it's a one-off. We'll lump it into general admin. And I don't know that that's appropriate because it gets blurry. So is that part of, yeah, so just the suggestion that we should have a mechanism or a policy of how, and maybe it's already been brought forward because it's been discussed so many times, but how we deal with the one-off requests if it's not granting. In the tiny municipality where we don't have the mechanism for increasing our taxation, when a request like this would be 10% taxation increase, we have to work within our means, so, or leverage grants. So I think it would be nice to have something like that for the regional district as well.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor specific to this one, so I think that's a good catch, but it would be, you can flag that as a good catch. So, all those in favor? I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Oh, it is weighted. We got Nelson and Castlegar, so you know what, we're gonna do it. Someone's gonna ask. Jackman. Tierney. Vandenberg. I'm in favor. Graham. Newell.
In favor.
Cunningham. Popoff.
Opposed.
Davidoff.
Opposed.
Hanegraaff.
In favor.
Weatherhead.
In favor.
Bogle.
In favor.
DeBoon.
In favor.
Hewitt.
In favor.
McLaren Co.
In favor.
Page.
Favor.
Casely. Casely. Castley.
Yes. It's a yes.
What do you do with that?
I said yes, because I'm not saying somebody's present.
McKellar.
Okay.
Gordon.
Opposed.
Lunn. In favor. Director Casely, are you present? What do you do with that? Don't count it. He's not present.
Out of the room.
Wait, can you note he's not present? Thank you. Then we can get our votes accurate. Yeah, if you can send him a message to let him know, let us know when he's back. Thank you. Vote is 26-9 in favor. That passes. Thank you.
Recorded,
Recorded opposed.
please.
Vandenberg.
Please.
Did you get all the opposed, Carly?
I think I just missed Roger.
Roger Tierney was in favor.
Yeah,
All
Chair,
right.
I don't want to be recorded opposed. I'm just, mine is a taxation thing more than anything else, so I don't want to be recorded opposed. Thank you.
So just Graham and Vandenberg will record it.
Thank you, Carly. Thanks, Director Davidoff, if you can mute.
Yep.
Thank you. What time are we at? 7.2.1 Arrow Creek Water Treatment Plant. We have a motion there. Lots of info in the report. We ready for the motion?
Yep.
Go ahead, Tierney. You can just move the motion.
This is the Arrow Creek Water Treatment Plant pre-treatment upgrades, and I would move the staff recommendation.
Thank you. Do we have a second? Thank you, Vandenberg. Discussion, any questions? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. RDCK accessibility plan. The motion, there's two motions for this one. The plan was in the report. Any questions? Or are we ready for the motion to adopt it? Vandenberg.
Well, put forward the motion, but I do have a question.
You want to move the motion and then ask a question? You're moving adoption of the accessibility plan?
Yes.
Thank you. Do we have a second? Thank you. It's on the floor. Ask your question.
So I thought, and I do believe that we had a group that was tied to this. I just wanted to make sure that the group was instrumental in this report going forward.
Yeah, the plan referenced several times how the committee was engaged in that process.
To hear that publicly.
Okay. Mike, you want to say that publicly?
Yes, through the chair, the committee was actively involved in every stage of the plan and endorsed it in the meeting last week.
Thanks, Mike. Further discussion. This is an all vote. Only note, Mike, can we get our logo on this? Thank you. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. And the next one to apply for the grant, which is essentially once you do this, you can then enter the queue for the funding to implement. Would
Chair,
someone
I'd like to move that as a member of this group.
Yep. Moved. And do we have a second? Thank you. Discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, oh, sorry, Hewitt, go ahead.
Just because the village, sorry, through the chair, the village is going through this as well. And, we noted that this $25,000 worth of funding had to be expended by March 31st. Or is this, if this is a different stream, my question is irrelevant, but would this project be completed within that time frame?
Mike? And if you can speak a little louder when you're speaking, please.
Yeah,
Thank
through
you.
the chair, I was on the Spark website this morning, they are still actively accepting applications. So the original date was supposed to be March 31st, 2026. And then it became, that was the final application date. And now it looks like there's still, it sounds like there was a pot of funding that hasn't been fully utilized, and that they're going to extend the program to allow local governments who are a little bit slower in completing the plans to apply. So that's the information I have on that right now.
Thank you.
Thank you, good question. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. 7.3.2, the quarterly report. Graham, am I gonna start with you?
Sure.
And then Jackman, yes, of course, go ahead, Graham.
Thank you. So through the chair, Mike, this is a big improvement, and I was actually showing Mike this morning how you can analyze, once you get it into Excel, if you export it, you can use the pivot table. And you can find all kinds of really heavy information. We have 153 items on the work plan right now. I noticed that there are a lot more categories than there was previously, like maybe if it was aligned by service, or I don't know. But anyways, the only thing I do see missing is sort of the summary and the things that have been achieved since last report that we used to have in the old report. But I really like this, good work, and I know there's a lot more to be done, and I will send them to the table team.
There is still that summary of work that was projects that were completed and ones that had been completed in the previous quarter in the report.
I did find it when I went through it, but I don't know how I found it. So, but I did see previous.
It would appear at the end of the report.
Yeah.
Forward.
So it is there, but we'll get, maybe Mike can do a tutorial with you individually and we can look at it. I did see it. That's how I know. It's at the very end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I already filed and have it.
Okay. Jackman?
Yeah, thanks. Yeah.
Hewitt, was that a hand? Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead, Jackman.
Yeah, it's a different format. That's why people who are technically savvy who can be part of that didn't show up. I like the report. I appreciate the level of detail. There's lots here. It's just the one thing that comes to mind, and see that Interior Health, they improved their reporting dramatically. They started using just the odd little color code flagging. It may or may not work in this format, but you'd see something with a green or yellow or red that could bring our attention to the health capital projects where, you know, if it's delayed by something, maybe there's some way to put a little color coded in the side. That if I was to search by area A or by group or this or that or water, I might see which ones are struggling. And then maybe in that same sort of highlighting thing, show the ones that are on the verge of completion. I guess might be nice. Maybe look at well, obviously we have looked at the Interior Health ones through the chair because Mr. Morrison is attached to the list of development. But some kind of color coded flag so that we can zero in where we might miss something that has been delayed or upset.
Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, through the chair. Thank you for the comment, and that was something that we were hoping to achieve with the revised format for the quarterly report. Moving to a new platform was a significant amount of work, and we weren't able to include all the functionality that we wanted in the first round, but please consider this a work in progress. We'll be adding additional functionality, both in what the board sees and how this essentially what is now a database of the work of the organization is managed internally as well. So color coding and improving visual presentation and finding ways to summarize different categories of information for the board. Say, for instance, having a summary sheet at the end that might indicate all of the projects that attach to a specific strategic priority would be something that we'd be looking to include as well. But it was a big effort to just get to the point where we can launch this in its current form and stay tuned for further improvements as we go along.
Thank you. Hewitt.
All right, thank you through the chair. I really like the new presentation. Really good. Couple of things that I gave up making notes on them, but just a flag for yourself that some of the revised completion dates are prior to the original completion date, so they're not in keeping, but I'm sure that's just because it was a lot of work to get this compiled, so just, I'm sure you're aware of it, that I noted a number of them. And I'm not sure what to do with this one, as I just read it over again last night, on page 6, regarding North Kootenay Lake Services and our Economic Development Commission, to refer that back. You know, how would we do that? To refer that back to our commission or to our North Kootenay Lake Services Committee for a discussion. I'm not sure what the mechanism is for doing that. When's the appropriate time, or Director Watson and I just discuss that and add it to an agenda.
Yeah, through the chair, that's what you could do, just add it to an agenda.
Okay.
It's a good flag that anything in this, as you're reading through it, if it's your own or sub-regional service, just flag it to bring it to that committee. The board doesn't have to direct that unless it's an action the board has taken. And always check in with staff, but that's what we need to do now, is kind of go through it and be like, where are we going with these things, and deal with anything that's specifically yours. Can you put Paige on the list of these? Len.
Yeah, quick question through the chair. So just to build on my last comment, the financial grant and aid services policy, would that policy be what has been spoken to in the past surrounding the one-off grant and aid requests, or is it something different?
Through the chair, that's specifically that with grant and aid services. That was motion from the board of around 2024. And I think underlying that was a desire for the board around budget time to have better information and detail on the requests that grant and aid services were making for taxation increases. So that was the essence of the policy, but we also, as staff, made some other things that we want to add into some contractual right for grant and aid societies and manage risk and things like that. That's the intent of that.
So the grant and aid, those are our contribution services. Those are the ones like your libraries and whatnot, where we're not running them, we're just giving the grant. And that came from Crescent Valley wanting to ensure in North Kootenay Lake as well, what is the parameters in which we need to say yes to those, and when do we want that? What you're specifically referencing is more about community development and discretionary funds. That's a different policy, and noting what we want to do with that and or where we put these one-offs would require a new action. Stuart?
So there's nothing on the table. Looking at the one-off request that wouldn't be a part of a grant and aid service.
The grant and aid, again, those are contribution services. So those are already set. Those are services being delivered by an external entity, usually a society. So that's different than these one-offs that, I mean, it depends on where it lands, but that's a different conversation.
Okay. So there's nothing on the work plan currently that would address the concerns of one-off requests, essentially running through the general admin.
Stuart?
So through the chair, the restriction that the RD has is that any bylaw we have has to have scope. And if you don't know what requests you're going to be getting in the future, it'd be difficult to design a bylaw that is different from general admin. And if you don't know what requests are coming, who are the participants in that service in order to be able to pay it? So our only mechanism is to create a service. Mm-hmm. And for example, if the board saw the Food Policy Council annual funding as being something that's just repeating annually, and you're not getting tired of approving it every year, but it's become something where it's a widespread support and it's become established, then maybe that's something that eventually moves into its own service and out of general admin. But right now, we don't have a service for invasive species. We don't have a service for immigration programs. You know, could you argue that could go to economic development? Perhaps, How do you split that amongst the 9 economic development services that we have? So those are the struggles that we would have administratively. So creating another service is an option for these one-offs. But again, you get back to, if everybody's just going to participate in it anyway, then general admin is probably the best vehicle for these for the time being, until you determine you want to set up a service for somebody.
And I just need to flag, we're talking about the quarterly report right now. So you're flagging something you'd like to see on it that's not on it. So can you take that offline and then we can work on what that might look like? But the service provisions and what you can do in a bylaw is really the critical piece to what you're trying to do.
Yeah, sorry, last piece is not me per se. I've just heard it so many times, which is why I flagged it.
Oh yeah, no problem. I'm just saying we're on quarterly report. So it's a flag to take it offline and then bring it back when we've got something. I'll go last page on the quarterly report. Thanks.
Yeah, on the quarterly report, I'd like the new version, and it sounds like you can pull over a database at this point. I'd like to see listing of the service around committees and commissions, just that more additional clarity of which committee or commission that came from. Usually you can discern it, but I think in some cases be explicit. And then there's a comment earlier from another director around taking things back to commissions. I know within recreation and parks, I think we're doing it elsewhere. We have been listed on our agendas just as an appendix of list of the action items. So if this is going to be not administratively burdensome, I think that's a good policy writ large. That if something came from a commission, even though it's working through the organization, that it kind of remains as that appendix on those commission meetings. So there's always that opportunity to say, like, when you start out, where's this at? And at times what we did in rec, we went through and winnowed that list and said, we don't need to do a bunch of this stuff.
Go ahead.
Through the chair, we do have action lists for a number of our committees and commissions. We've got it for Creston Valley, where staff track stuff. What we want to make sure is that if we get into that for the majority of our committees and commissions, I want to make sure that we're not tracking it in the quarterly report and then separately tracking it on that action item. It would be great to have something that has a little bit more synergy, because what we have is the quarterly report gets updated and then the committee or commission action list is falling behind. They don't match.
Yeah.
And then it just creates confusion amongst the directors.
Yeah. That's why I feel like you can code them, but you can pull them by certain support.
Yeah. And through the chair, as Mike mentioned, this is an ongoing process. It would be great to tie those committee actions to this quarterly report so that we can just spit that out every time we have a quarterly report meeting or a commission meeting and update that commission with what's going on there specifically.
Thank you.
So does that would be intended with the addition of that commission category to the quarterly reports to start capturing the work that's directed through commissions, and we have criteria that the senior management can apply in determining what to add to the report and whatnot.
Great.
So we have 2 minutes to public time, and we've got myself, Paige, Pop Off, and Tyranny. Or sorry, we already had Paige. Thank you, Paige. Pop Off.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Just like I scroll to the, and what Director Lund mentioned is grants. But I want to talk about grants and aid that we have services for. They haven't been reviewed for quite a while. Some of them are.
The policies on the quarter. So we're talking about the quarterly report, not the specifics on the report. The financial grant and aid policy is on the report to be updated. Okay. Tyranny.
Yeah, really great format. I really enjoyed how you go through it. The one thing that jumped out at me though is the policy to address harassment of staff attending private properties, which says that it's currently considered a low priority. I think that should be given more thought. I'm kind of concerned that staff attending difficult situations, and there might be some avoidance going into those situations because there's no upgrade to the harassment policy.
Okay. Noted. I completely forgot what I was going to say.
Public time.
Yeah, public time. I don't need to talk. That's fine. Thank you, Mike. Great work. Nice job. Oh, yes, I know what I was going to say. What I noted with some of our newsletters or other local government when we do our board highlights, I think it'd be really good when we have received the quarterly report that those completed things are included in our board highlights as what have we accomplished in this quarter. So that was my flag for you and Dan Elliott to connect on that. Thank you. All right, we will go to public time now. Is there any members of the public online who would like to ask us a question? Please just, raise your hand. RDCK resident, you're welcome to unmute. And the focus is to ask a question, but of course, if you want to preamble that, go ahead. Hi, Vida, go ahead and unmute. You're still muted. Oh, it won't let you unmute? Usually that's... 1 second, Vida, we'll see if we've got it on our end. I don't think we control that, do we?
You can request them.
I'll just try to open. Ask them.
We change. It's still not. Are you gonna type it in chat maybe? Sorry about that. We're not preventing you.
She could call.
Okay, I'll go to others and then, call in. Okay, thanks, Vida. Sorry about that. Are there other members of the public who would like to ask a question? Or members of the media? Hi, Storm, I see you there. And Valley Voice, Rachel. Okay, I'll just check the room. If you can watch for a number to come on. Any members of the public in the room that would like to ask us a question? There was someone there. You're good? Okay. Okay, we'll just wait for a second for... Was Vita right? Yeah. Okay. All right, folks, I know normally we move along, but I'd like to give her a chance.
Hi, guys.
Oh,
sorry
hi, Vita, go ahead.
That. Okay,
That's
sorry
okay.
about that, guys, and thank you. Happy New Year to everybody.
Happy New Year.
First of all, this is in regards to Bylaw 3066, the dangerous and aggressive dog bylaw. I'm happy that it went to referendum and not AAP, so thank you guys for that. That's a positive. But I do have a question with regards to if this has ever been an option. I'm not a dog owner, never will be. Not a fan of how I'm not a dog person. However, whatever, that's people's prerogative. But my question is I also a property owner and I pay a lot of taxes already into the regional district where I don't really get much benefit other than the recycling depot. Why has it been considered to actually provide, like the people that own dogs, there's a license fee, tagging, anything like that, so it's not onerous on people like myself? Has that ever been considered an option?
I will direct that one to staff. Is that one
okay,
you can
I'm gonna
answer?
mute first.
Okay, thanks, Vita.
Yeah, through the chair, we have not been asked to look into that. No, the only licensing we've been asked to look at in the past has been business licensing, but not dog licensing. And I'd have to look into our powers outside the municipality as to what we'd be able to implement there. So apologies, I can't speak completely on it, but we can look into it.
May I ask another follow-up?
Yeah, you can go ahead.
I appreciate this. Thank you. Why hasn't this been considered? And is it something that could go as part of a question on the referendum? Please and thank you.
Stuart?
Through the chair, the revenue options in the bylaw relate specifically to fines in the regulatory bylaw. In terms of licensing and tracking, my first thought is that would be a really high administrative cost for the regional district across such a vast area. And then if you're trying to enforce something like licensing, I believe it would cost even more than what is being proposed under this very limited scope bylaw that just deals with aggressive and dangerous dogs. This bylaw does not deal with roaming dogs. It does not deal with leash dogs or anything to that effect. It's only about aggressive and dangerous dogs. And I think that that limited scope is going to be much less costly than trying to enforce licensing on an annual basis.
And just to the question on the referendum, that actually requires a service case analysis with specifics on what that would look like. So we'd have to do all that research to then ask that question, just from a process perspective. But by all means, email those in, and between staff and director, we can add more to it. Thank you, Vita. Okay, that was it for, there's no one else online that had a question that I could see. So we're going to do at least one or two more items. Let's keep going. 7.4.1, this is the regional grant application for Next Gen 911 funding. We have a good report there, Cunningham.
Yeah, I'd like to move I'd like to move the recommendation, but I do have a question for.
Let's move it. Get a second. Okay, go ahead. Ask your question.
I see it's for hardware and software. In other words, we're talking about the electronics that the cost of the electronics that it will take to change. And I didn't see that separated out in the report, as well as it talks about the training of the public. And I'm just wondering how to look at the separation there. Or is it all going one way now and we'll go for another grant for the rest? Or exactly the whole thing.
So both Michelle and Grant turned on their cameras.
Yeah, through the chair. If either one of those want to take it, that's fine. Yeah.
Go ahead, Michelle or Grant. Michelle, Grant, go ahead.
Hi, through the chair, Grant here. I didn't actually hear the question well.
Michelle, did you hear the question?
I did not, through the chair, I did not hear the question clearly. If it can be repeated, please.
Yeah, Stuart will repeat it. Go ahead, Stuart.
So through the chair, the question is essentially the scope of this grant. Does it include some of the analog to digital work that we're doing within the 911 service? Or is it strictly around the GIS work that's being done? If you could just clarify the difference between the two.
Through the chair, I can speak to this. So mainly this is related to the GIS work that's required on the data. And I believe the public outreach piece, anything that's related to the hardware and the actual systems will be handled separately, not part of this grant, and I believe not being handled directly by the RDCK, but Grant, you can confirm that, I believe.
Sure. Through the chair, I guess I'm not really sure what the question relates to, digital and analog. The system is being driven by the province. We don't really have a choice in the matter. How it affects residents is that if their address information is not accurate within GIS, then the new system won't actually be able to locate where a caller is calling from. And there is a risk in the future that they may get a disconnect from Ecom 911 because they cannot be located. That's something that the province is working on. It's kind of got not really anything to do with us. It's just a function that we have to try and figure out dealing with.
Stuart has more, and then I'll go back to you, Cunningham. No, 1 second. Stuart has more, and then I'll go to you.
So through the chair to Grant, if you could just, what I think Director Cunningham was getting at is that we've had equipment budget upgrades budgeted for in the 911 service, that's 156 for a number of years, and that's ongoing. And his question was whether or not this grant could be used for that hardware or if it's outside that scope.
Through the chair, this grant actually applies directly to the provision of the NG 911 service. So that is separate to the equipment infrastructure that we are needing to do.
Go ahead, Cunningham.
Thank you. Excuse me. Yeah, my concern here is, like most things that are mandated by the province, I would like it if all the necessary funds behind it. I certainly am in favor of the system. The system's an excellent one in areas like I've seen it used down in the States, and if the next one works, it's expensive to implement because you're taking all your analog equipment to digital. Good. And everything's going computer too, but as those of us who deal in the digital world, we know about such things as drop calls and all the other things that can happen. And we want to make sure that it's a very, very reliable system. And considering where a lot of people live in our areas, I know when we registered all the names and addresses in Area Chief, I had 3 or 4 that were on the tops of mountains. And the only reason they registered is because they could be protected by forest in case of forest fires and stuff like that. But other than that, but it's a big program, and it's supposed to encompass every resident in the province, so it better be good. And and it better be paid for by somebody else than us. And, that's basically where I'm coming from.
Okay, thanks. Go ahead.
So through the chair, just to close the loop on that, Grant, maybe you could confirm the equipment upgrades that we are doing for our 911 infrastructure. Would they be required if the NG 911 project didn't exist?
Yes. What we consider under our 911 budget, our infrastructure, is our ability to dispatch departments to respond to emergencies within our regions. That is radio infrastructure, links back to our dispatch, and also the provision of that service that we get from the regional district of Fraser Fort George. It doesn't. A part of that budget does relate to. The provision of services and the GIS update, but the vast majority of what we would call infrastructure upgrades is completely separate from this.
Thank you. I am just going to ask about the community outreach for the notion of, we do know there's addresses that maybe did not go through. Generally, we get those by a building permit process. So is it just an advertising that we're doing to ensure you have an address number and that it's signed well, noted well, or what's the plan around that one in terms of community engagement?
Through the chair, I can speak to that a little bit. Part of it is what you say, just letting the public know about this program, letting them know that they need to have their address registered with the RDCK so that it will also be registered with 911. We have a lot of residents in our community who just put a sign in front of their house with a number on it, but it's never been, registered in the database. And that's probably the majority of a lot of the challenges we have. The other piece is things like just helping people understand, signage and the emergency outreach, through fire smart programs and things like that. So it's and also fire departments, being able to communicate with their communities. They know their communities better than most, and they might know where, there's some challenging addresses and things like that. So that's what we kind of intend to see.
Thanks, Michelle. Just follow up to that, and then I've got pop-up on the list. So in our rural areas, of course, there's lots of places without a fire department. I have a couple of nonprofit societies one specifically that's been working on rural numbering to support that connection and be our first responders getting that info. So just that good networking is to work with some of those societies. And if you need that, you can reach out to the directors, and of course, municipalities who, I know in Castle, we funded a numbering program to make sure they had those on for visibility, but perhaps there's another connection in terms of getting it into the GIS system. So just connections there. And yeah, go ahead, Michelle. Sorry.
Thanks for saying that. So we have been working with our municipal partners on this project. So that includes what you just described, as well as they're making sure that their residents understand the program and the numbering, and then they're communicating any changes or improvements or missing addresses to us as part of this to update the municipal addressing as well.
Thanks, Michelle. I would have assumed. Papa.
Yeah, through the chair, Michelle, we have vacant lots. And do they have to get a number? And the reason I'm asking is that some of those vacant lots have forests on them. and if there's a fire there in that, on that vacant lot, so do they have to register the vacant lots with you, so they have a number?
So through the chair, our current addressing processes only kind of capture or assign addressing through building permits or property owners coming to us and filling out an application and requesting an address. So those are the only two mechanisms currently that we have to assign addresses. We will assign addresses to a vacant lot if a property owner asks for it, and we usually ask why, but I think that NG 911 and the requirements around that will require us to kind of relook at how we address and what drives that.
So a supplement on that, if I may, quick one. Do our regional district maps reflect the addresses that are already in the system?
Correct, yes, they do.
Thank you.
Okay, all those in favor? Opposed? Carried, thank you. All right, we will break at 7:5 for our lunch. See you at 1 o'clock. Okay. Look at that, all of a sudden I got shot over here. Directors, please take your seats. Newell, Tierney. Okay, let's just check. Director Gordon, welcome back. Hope you had a good lunch. You can hear us all right? Thank you, Dr. Casely.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. David off had to leave, so you'll likely see him pop back on Carly. All right. Oh, I'll close my binder. We were on 7.5. Discretionary grant.
Oh, sorry, Chair. I had to log right out and just finish.
Yeah.
So can you
We
hear me
got
okay? Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Discretionary grant 7.5.1.1. Who would like to move that motion for Silicon Park has been added?
So moved.
Thank you, Jackman. Pop off discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. And discretionary grant amendment. Whose area is that? You want to move it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry, my computer. Oh yeah, move the recommendation, change the name of who the payee.
Do we have a second? Thank you, Hannah Graham. Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. And community development. Thank you. Weatherhead, Cunningham, second. Go ahead.
Thank you. With regard to draft strategy, I'd like to point out that some of this is the Congress handles our census per kilo program. And yeah, you may know, for those who very kept track, we've been doing this for about half a dozen years now. And the beetle trap are catching less and less beetles every year. And the Douglas fir areas around Fall Siding, you may notice, are beautifully green, unlike the brown patches in other areas. I'm mentioning that because the province does not do this. APCO started doing it, APCO lumber started doing it in the Kootenay area, which is a huge number of trees that were dying. And we've gotten on to it constantly. Anyway, and so we're doing it in parts of Area G. And the traps make a terrific difference. It's amazing. And I'm trying to think that either we should push this to the government and say, listen, you guys, we don't want to go the way of the pine beetle. And that's where we're happening with Douglas fir, because the temperature change, or maybe Maybe you should sponsor these things for anybody who needs to put them up and wants to put them up for other companies. Or maybe other directors may just want to do it in the fall. We, the guy out, paying for several thousand traffic down into the local area.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. I do want to make a comment on grants. We consistently get late requests and I generally approve them because it's easier than going back and forth on why, but I'd like to please request if they're not in on time, unless it's extremely time sensitive, please don't ask staff to start adding these late. It's just extra work for them. So my own grants that come in late, they go to next month and that's time sensitive. So please do be considerate of that. Thank you. Chair and CAO reports. I have a few things for you. First one is the executive met with MLA Minister Anderson last week. As she met with most councils, when she met with us or requested the meeting with us, the executive had determined with 30 minutes and 5 things on the list immediately that we did not invite the board to attend because there was going to be no time for discussion or questions from the board. So the executive opted to meet with her directly. Hope that's all good with you. We also didn't have a lot of time to give you a heads up. What we did discuss is we presented the 3 advocacy letters that Resource Recovery had recently put through. I believe the request came in late December. So we immediately said, well, we just sent 3 advocacy letters. So we shared those with her. The other 2 items were Barry, thank you. And Bill 216, which we immediately were all opposed, don't like it. Great. Wasn't a big discussion. We all agree it's a bad plan. And then the other one was just overall government impact from the province to local governments and not having a good understanding on capacity. And the outcome from that one, and I'll ask McLaren Co or Jackman if they want to add to any of this as part of the executive, is we suggested they applied a rule lens, which was introduced by former MLA Rolly Russell, thank you, and MLA Anderson. And so she had asked, how could we improve that? Suggested in an advisory committee. They are predominantly working through UBCM. And even just yesterday, we got a notice about a meeting with BC Wildfire inviting us with 1 day to meet on consultation for 2 hours regarding fire and how we respond. And I let them know that's not adequate. That is not consultation. And so speaking with MLA Minister Anderson, we suggested that they create a rural advisory committee that works with her and her ministry around integration and what capacity looks like, and to look at the broad spectrum of local governments and choose people from extremely different, like none of us are very much the same. So to choose people that very much have a rural experience, understand both RDs to municipalities that are rural. So we'll see what happens with that, but she was quite receptive and really wanted to know how can we improve this. And we said essentially we're just going to start responding with a no next time, like with each additional request. On that item, did you want to add anything I missed?
The only thing I'd add is through BKVLG, we might be also attending or being part of that rural advisory, as yet unnamed rural advisory committee.
Okay. Jackman, did you want to add anything briefly?
Yeah, I guess you could see on the ferry issue, we really need more details. Have they finalized everything? Are we going to see the ferry schedule? That is pretty important to a lot of people. It's been avoided. I'm getting that detail, and on the new vessel construction, again, optimistically somehow everything's going to come together, and it's only going to be 4 years, which is currently scheduled to be 4 years past the usual schedule. Not enough people. And the question to Labor Minister is to why does the ferry advisory exist? It came into existence at the time that the employer was no longer the province, who could always speak on our behalf. The employer became a contractor. Those 2 things happened simultaneously. We've never had clarity around the ability of that community advisory to speak or participate in labor relation issues, to speak to the FLRB or participate in farm. It's October, November, December, January, 4 months now, no reply. So we asked her to follow up on that.
Thank you. Okay, so when we get to the end, we'll take questions from the board. The other thing to report on is Vice Chair McLaren Coe and I attended a tri-district chair and vice chair meeting. And that was with Chair Gay and who's the chair of KB now?
McGregor.
Oh yeah, McGregor, Grace, thank you. And we essentially just kind of talked about the different things that we're all experiencing. I don't believe we actually had actions out of it. It was more just a check-in on how we're doing things. It was a really good conversation. We were doing this previously, and we kind of do it quarterly, and it's just a check-in. What are you dealing with? What are your issues? Yeah, so we did have that meeting. One second. Two other things. One is I did have a request that we plan another board dinner. So we'll look at doing that possibly in April. Thank you, Hannah Graff. Good idea. It was a good time. So we'll do that again. And then the other ones, I think we'll just hold for now. So questions, David, off, you had a question for me?
Yes, Chair. In the past, we've invited like our MLAs to come to a board meeting and meet with us and chat with us and stuff like that. And I don't think that's happened for a while.
We did invite her when she's able to, she will. That was our response actually, was it'd be great if you could come as a delegation to our board.
Okay, so you addressed it at the meeting.
Yes.
Okay, that's where I'm going. So that's good. So hopefully it's nice to, it's easier for them to come to us than for all of us to go to them.
Yeah. Sorry, Paige, did you have a question? Sorry. I'm just seeing another hand. You guys, can you please use hands? Paige, then Weatherhead, did you have a hand?
Just saying more stuff, just MLAs.
Yes, we're aware. Yeah, absolutely. We're just referencing, we had a meeting with Emily Anderson. Weatherhead, go ahead.
Oh, thank you. Just on that, just in relation to the ferries, with the advisory committee, I could not find any evidence of the ferry that Arrow Lakes ever had one. So I found one just for Kootenay, but not Arrow. So I hope that filters back to our area as well.
Am I missing him? No. Yeah.
I don't think
All right then. Keep going.
Through the chair, I was at the meeting with them.
I was at a meeting, many meetings. All right, Rural Affairs Committee, over to you, Chair Duckman.
Anything to note or everything? Okay, so as usual, the Rural Affairs Committee has been delegated authority to receive landowner delegations to deal with issues that come before the committee. We had two individuals at the meeting yesterday. One was online under item 6.1, here Valley Fruit Farms. The other one is in person under item 6.3, Steam Off Plan Exemption. We have 5 recommendations. They are all vote. I will note one of them is pertaining to 3 readings of a bylaw, because you as the board as a whole have not seen the bylaw and the enriched agenda. It's there attached to the minutes from the rural committee. Called up with it's first and third reading of the ROG bylaw. So I think individually these will go quicker and go sent to the chair. I'm going to go to 109. First one, 6.1 Inter Valley Fruit Farms, area B. I move the corporate officer be directed to file a notice on title as stated within the agenda on the properties.
Do we have a second? It's B, yeah. Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Second item is electoral area F. This is development variance permit for Mackey. I move the board approve the issuance of a development variance permit to Judine and Linda Mackey for the property as described.
Second, discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Third one is the floodplain exemption of Steenhoff and electoral area H. I move that the board not approve the issuance of a site-specific exemption to floodplain management bylaw 2009, existing lawful constructed development on the property as described.
Second, discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
This next one is, comes out of business arising for several electoral areas, you'll note. Most of them are being referred back to Rural Affairs Committee. There's a single one that has come to the board. That's area G, and that's the bylaw, which is attached to the minutes of the Rural Affairs Committee. Move the electoral area G land use amendment bylaw 3054, 2025, being bylaw to amend the electoral area G land use bylaw 24, 52, 2018 is hereby given first, second, and third reading. And yes, and the consideration of adopting the held as
Second, thank you. Discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
last one is community works application on behalf of G and J. For fire hall structural upgrades. I move community works fund application submitted for the fire hall structural upgrades in the amount of $76,450. Be approved and the funds dispersed from community works as noted in the recommendation.
Second, Hannah Graf. Thank you. Discussion. Yes. All good? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. All right. No director's motions. Number 10, consent agenda. I don't have anything in there you need to. Oh. Okay. Any questions on for information communication? Is there anything in there anyone wants to pull? All right, seeing none. 10.3, any questions on accounts payable? Yes, Fran.
Thank you. So through the chair, just one question about why we would be paying $857,000 to Liz System Company.
Through the chair, for the Goat River Park acquisition that was approved by the board in October, November.
Any other questions? All right, verbal reports. We got time today. Here's my list. Who you are unless I have a list. Well, we'll just go this way. Director Lund, how about you start?
Nothing to report.
All right, Director Tierney. Oh, sorry, no. Director Gordon, you're next according to the seating plan.
Nothing to report.
Thank you, Director Tierney.
Just in case the director wasn't the park acquisition, did you know the funds came from the organization?
We don't, if you can go through the.
I thought I would just inform her where the money came from.
Yeah.
Anyways, can't do that.
Oh, you can just.
When I'm checking with
the
Erickson water system has in the budget coming up to replace a water line across the Goat River, and so I'm inquiring. I've inquired with North Canyon Improvement District whether they could take on the 6 properties on the east side of the Goat River. So I'm working with Chris Gainham and really to basically see whether North Canyon has the capacity to take on those 6 properties, and which would eliminate the need to rebuild that water line across the Goat River, and also the line from the Goat River up to those 6 properties is quite a distance, and it's a 1960 foot in the ground, so would be quite a savings for us if we didn't have to deal with that down the road, replacement of that line and the water line going across the Goat. I'm just I'm going to get some maps from Chris Gainham to take to North Canyon so they can just see how many properties there are, how much they have to extend their water line. So that's something I'm working on.
Thank you, Director Vandenberg.
Just one thing I guess we can touch on. We had the opportunity to get together and do a workshop on our economic development in Crescent Valley. For the purpose of determining what our governance structure ought to look like going forward, and wrapping in all the community members into a plan of well, it's kind of undecided how that's going to look, but we are very optimistic that having that conversation allows us to do what we can do as directors, ABC and Crescent, and provide some good communication and opportunity to our local people that are involved in our economic development. And that's it.
Thank you. Dr. Bogle.
Just a couple of quick, Cascagarn District Heritage Society, after a long period of time, has a new director. Maggie Shirley has taken over the reins from Deb McIntosh. There is the 2025 AGM was delayed until February 12th. That'll be coming up obviously on February 12th, I should say. And the new board will hold elections, and there are 6 people who have expressed an interest in running the board, including Duff Sutherland, who's a retired history professor from Selkirk, Lindsay Neal, archaeologist, and just some other active community members. And it is just a pleasure to attend the meetings with them and to see the energy and just the new vision. So I look forward for big things from the new board of the Heritage Society.
Great. Dr. Weatherhead.
Thank you. Things were a little quiet over Christmas as I was digesting all the food. I had for dinner and stood by it. It was lovely. So I guess I'm supporting Arrow and Spokane Lakes in their rural medical transportation program. So I'm excited to see what they're working on next toward transporting. A lot of our medical appointments tend to be in the Okanagan. So this is a separate from our transit and run by a nonprofit organization. Community Association is going to be getting a pretty significant park upgrade through the Columbia Basin Trust, so I'm supporting quite a bit there, and all of the other things that are being supported. One of the big things is our ski program at this time of year, supporting all the students to get 3 ski days at $25 per student per day, which is a huge win, I think, for our region to have access to a lovely ski hill. Maybe not quite enough snow this year, but we're getting there. And yeah, that's about it. I'd like to. I'll jump into Ready Grants next, so it'll be a tunnel of Ready Grant season. Thank you.
Dr. Page.
For those of you who will be around in the coming weeks, the festival is always a great time here. If you not had a chance to be on Lakeside on the Saturday evening, but they typically do it and see all of those creative lamps that everyone makes. It's really beautiful. So just a heads up for the future. We've launched a housing dashboard. Staff has looked at our housing needs assessment that we all did together and connected that with some of the statistics that we have from the province and from ourselves to get a better sense of where what we're doing to progress towards the needs that are identified in that. So that is available on the city website now and will be updated. We adopted and launched a new formalized lease policy because we have the 5th floor. Our city hall has all been renovated and is ready for new tenants. We've shifted things around. So if anyone needs some office space and expansions of some of our departments here need some additional space, there's space there to tie into, but it also will include our recreation facilities. We've renovated Civic and more of those things that are coming online soon. If anyone hasn't had a chance to see how the Dance Umbrella has been transformed and looks better than when it was new. 89 years ago. It's a beautiful space now, has air conditioning for the first time in its life, has new air windows, a really gorgeous space. And we have incorporated a lot of the feedback we've heard around pest management at Nelson Hydro. We've amended our pest management plan. It's up on the site now for additional feedback. And we have finished our implementation of the rural and the urban rates. Just noting that this year is the last of the catch-up years on our cost of service return on assets. So there was an order a couple years ago from the BCUC to bring our rates up in the rural area to match a certain cost return on assets, and they gave us 3 years for which to catch that up. This year, with this rate increase, is the last of those catch-up years. And that's correct.
Thank you. No questions. We go straight through director's reports. We don't ask questions. Dr. Graham, go ahead. Oh, Davidoff sits there. I'm sorry. I thought you were saying he had a question. I'm so sorry, Director Davidoff. Go ahead. You haven't sat here for so long. I didn't know where your chair was. Go ahead. I'm so sorry.
I actually know where it is, and I know exactly where it is. We had I visited and saw where I was, so I felt welcome.
Oh, good. I'm sorry about that.
Okay, so I got lists, like little yellow sticky lists, and I looked at everything and I says, I'm dealing with all the things that I reported the last time I gave a director's report. And hopefully we're moving to a better place on some of them. So I don't want to repeat myself. And I'll just say have a great rest of 2 things. 2026. And guess what? Our terms are ending here pretty darn quick. So elections are coming up. I can't believe how fast time has gone by. So thank you everybody for all you do for all of us in the RD. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Director Davidoff. Thank you, directors at that end, for reminding me that. I'm sorry. Director Graham, over to you.
Thank you. So I finished up an Area E East Directors Recreation Survey, which was inspired by the Rec 5 survey that covered the other part. So that was interesting in seeing that there was some pretty high satisfaction. I was surprised on some of the results that there wasn't some missing teen things in the area or kid things in the area, but it seems like people are pretty happy. So I think that's really good. I'm working on priorities for the rest of my term, so I've really spent some time here trying to think of what those would be. So I'm trying to finish up with the Rec 10 bylaw update, the Whitewater Fire Service update, working with societies in the area to make sure that they have what they need, still working on some issues around the ferry, still working on opposition to Nelson Hydro's rate increase of 15.98%, dealing with resident complaints, trying to get some siding for the Blewett Fire Hall. And the Belfry daycare, I have an update, has increased from 24 to 32 spaces. North Mountain Construction has been awarded the contract. It's 3,700 square feet and it should be open in spring 2027. Other than that, I'm working with Director Newell on the E&F weekly newsletter, and our focus right now is on explaining the RDCK budgets and the process to the public.
Great. Dr. Cunningham.
Thank you, Chair. Christmas was, of course, interesting. I noticed that, we weren't going to get much snow here, but I went down to Oregon and I got a chance to ski on the dunes. And sand skiing is a wonderful experience. And of course, it's not as fast as it is on snow or ice, which I'm getting a little bit leery of, considering that I don't wind up with a pile of broken bones. So I really had a great time. And wish we could import some sand up here to do the same thing. On the other hand, the FCM President's Club, which is made up of all the ex-presidents, there's probably about 25 of us who are still alive, or acting like we're alive. And that's all right. So in any case, we've been meeting online probably once or twice a week, talking about the major things that affect FCM and being able to do big in-depth research It goes beyond the level of what staff does with FPM. And other staff does very, very fine research, as you all know. And they're a valuable organization, but the residents are able to look at things from a human perspective rather than just a strictly technical one, and give advice to senior staff on that area. As well as get together and party a lot of times when the conventions and meetings like that.
Thank you. Jackman.
So I think last time I had the opportunity for a verbal update, I kind of just pushed on to things are going along, and I think thinking back, the stress levels go up and down. And sometimes you just don't want to say what else is going on. I'm going to say a few things right now. A little bit of good. So the good, we got a lot of active local societies. They're still meeting through the winter. A lot of AGMs are going on. And even though volunteerism is not high, it seems to have stabilized. So that's kind of nice. If we count how many societies we each have and how we need them to help us govern or be effective locally, that's quite important. Community halls, to me, still is a big concern. We've talked about community works fund eligibility. I only have 5 halls to support. I think Director Paulhawk has more than double. Some of them are doing fairly well and optimistic that you can get on with major projects. Some of them are piecing together little advances and improvements. CBT has been a great help with their community conversations, not just around halls, but other community assets. One of the community halls near AA is in great distress, having had a major structural collapse, structural failure. It's bothersome to me, and I hope at some point we will look at if there's a path to make them more eligible for community works funding through emergency programming. Some of the functions they fulfill for us where we have no other assets are important, but it weighs on me a bit. If areas come up a few times, I truly worry we're going to lose young families. We are losing young families. Part of my young extended family is talking about leaving for exactly the reasons of the uncertainty about the next round of lack of access to health supports and to work opportunities. It's not a small thing. Groundwater issues I want to point out as well. Another one of these weird years. Hopefully not the new normal, but I'm getting quite a bit of input from both the Riendell end and the Windell end, which have normally high water tables. But this year, fairly intensive rain off and on, no accumulation, almost no accumulation at low level snow. There's barely a pile anywhere in Metro area, anywhere near the highway. As you go to mid-level, there's very little accumulation, so it's all running. To have high saturated groundwater conditions, we're having underwater and surface water flows impacting private properties. Worse than I have ever seen. I've had lots of issues along the entire East Shore of trying to deal with natural groundwater. Boy, this year is quite a bit more intense than normal. And I wouldn't mind hearing from others. Is this more common? It's not for the assurance, but we need, I think, a better response from the natural resource officers in the province who have jurisdiction over lands and water to be able to get out there and talk to people first. They're very confused talking to the highways, maintenance contractors, our staff, and whoever else might listen. I think we need a better approach to these types of users, but the weather patterns are seeing water come off the hillside relentlessly during and after rainstorms because there's no snow accumulation.
Thank you. Dr. Hewitt.
Thank you to the chair. Got a couple of things to report. On Sunday, I attended a celebration in honor of our retired library director, Eva Kellerman, who was with the library for 20 years, and Director Watson's alternate attended as well. It was a very lovely celebration. It was standing room only, which was great to see the support for Eva. Upcoming on February 16th is Winter in the Forest. If we actually get winter, but it'll happen regardless. This might take a different form than it normally does. And at the conclusion of the meetings here today, I will be traveling to Fairmont to participate in CBT meetings over the next 2 days. And at those meetings, there will be the election of the chair and vice chair for this next year. And the next meetings will be in March in Frail. And that's about it. Oh, and XCM meetings coming up, there'll be a week that I'll be participating in 5 different virtual meetings, and then the in-person meetings, just talk to, Director Page. So it's very complicated to get from the west coast to the east coast in less than a week. So we will be leaving on February 28th and returning all of it on Saturday. So we'll be gone an entire week.
Thank you, Director.
Looking forward to that. That's it. Thank you.
Director DeBoom.
So in 2025, the city of Castlegar convinced our chief financial officer to leave our highly esteemed organization and move to Castlegar. That left us without a CFO for quite some time. And so that delayed our budget deliberations till yesterday. And you look like you're responsible, but I don't know if you are.
No.
Still.
Through the chair.
A guilty look over there, I'm not sure, but anyhow, we did our budget deliberations yesterday, or we did the past 2 days, and we come up with a figure quite low actually of 4.1%. Barring any other changes, we will have a very reasonable tax rate for this coming year. So again, it took him, our CFO, a while to just get on board with the figures and figure out what to do next. But we felt that was a very successful 2 days of meetings. And again, no thanks to you, Paul. But also within our community over the past couple of years, there's been a society who worked very hard trying to get us a homeless shelter. And through BC Housing and our community needs, we have not come up with one that fits our community. And so another group came forward with a different proposal, and this is more for the marginally housed than it is for the homeless. And their proposal was to form or hook up with a charitable organization to do the charitable donation part of it. And then reach out to the community for commitments from community members to fund assistance in rental for people that are marginally housed and just need that boost, but are committed to. Sometimes it takes rules that they need to be committed to. Sometimes it takes a commitment to working and doing all the other things. But so the assistance is a bit conditional on abiding by rules. But this all came together. The community has supported this with a generous sponsorship that will be ongoing. And by the end of January, this program will house at least 4 individuals who are very eager to start to rebuild their lives and agree to terms. And so this is another way to help the unhoused, other than looking to publicly funded shelters. And so I was really pleased to be part of that. And I think we will be looking at how that works out. But it's a solution that I don't know how many communities have tried and a built-at-home solution on just subsidizing people that really need that boost to get back on their feet. And I'm happy to see that this has happened in our community, and I'm eager to see it go forward. And of course, these subsidies are for terms because it's assumed that you are transitioning from where you are to being back on your feet. So I just wanted to bring that up because again, I don't know how many communities have tried this, and I'm proud of our community that we have.
Thank you, Director DeBoom. Dr. Hanegraaff.
So in December, I worked with the mayor and council, and we handed out over 1,000 hot dogs over a few hours, and December to remember, just as soon forget. On January 14th, so I don't know how many of you remember, once the moratorium on water was lifted, the Robson Raspberry Improvement District was one of the first to put an expression, a letter of interest in. On January 14th, we had a public meeting, standing room only. We ran out of chairs. There was well over 100 people there. Most of them well behaved. Chris, Uli, and Eileen presented for the RTCK, and they did an amazing job. Really, really good. Every question was answered. There was also an engineering company who presented on the condition of the water system right now. I can't predict because I remember the referendum and how that went. But, I think the feeling in the room, the people of Robson, Raspberry really need reliable water service, which they haven't had for as long as I've lived here, which is close to 20 years. They've been on and off boil water the whole time for one reason or another. So I think if I've read the room right, they will be moving now to the straw poll to get 2/3 of the people voting to say they're interested in pursuing it and will want to move forward to move to an RDCK, to move the water system to the RDCK, I guess is how I want to say it. There were a lot of really good questions. People were very interested. No matter what they do, it's gonna cost them money because some of the equipment is so old, you can't get replacement parts. You have to have it manufactured. It kind of went on and on as far as that goes. And you talk about a good argument for asset management. That would be a shining example, but it was huge, it was good, it was positive, staff did a great job, and so, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Dr. Newell.
Thank you. I would like to report, and I will be chatting with Director Cunningham, who's had quite a bit of experience with BC Timber Sales. BC Timber Sales has, through some form of notification, told the communities that they will be conducting some activities in the Falls Creek watershed. And that's the preamble to me having attended a couple of public meetings, one sponsored by the community or community member, which a couple of months ago we granted $1,000 to help them put on that at Tagham Hall. And another one recently, last Wednesday, with the attendance of BC Timber Sales and other government agencies, to meet with the communities to talk about potential activities in not fully defined activities in the watershed. And what was perhaps interesting is how these kind of activities in a vulnerable watershed, although the definition of vulnerable is depends whose scale we're using, but how the interplay of wildfire mitigation and fire smart and a watershed that's vulnerable and less water, all kind of, and then activity in the watershed, what's the best activity, and the risk of wildfire and the devastation it can create, how all of these are interplaying in this interesting watershed that's about 5 miles down the road, 10 miles down the road. So I'll talk to Director Cunningham in regard to interacting with BC Timber Sales as part of it. But it's very interesting and very community focused. There's 60 or 70 people at the most recent meeting. So I'll just leave it at that, but it's interesting.
Thank you. Dr. McKellar.
I've been racking my brain for something to add, but if there was something Diana wanted me to add, I'd forgotten about it, and she can beat me up for that later. I'm gonna.
Thank you. Welcome to the table, which I meant to say to Director Gordon as well. Director Casely.
Yeah, on January 31st, we'll have our lantern parade. It starts at 4:45 in the park and heads to the Bosun Hall with music and stuff. Other than that, nothing else. Thanks.
Thank you. Dr. Papa.
Well, I've got a little bit to report here. I attended a meeting in Hills with CBD Community Liaison Amanda Murphy to discuss some of the issues that the Hills Community has and what kind of contribution they're required to do some of the development that they want. They want to, they're looking at possibly building a meeting room in their rec fire hall room or some other building. Also, I attended a meeting in Spokane Park, a presentation by Harry Aggregate regarding their proposed quarry at the end of Passmore Upper Road. And the hall was packed. Everybody was opposed to it completely. And, you know, normally we get referrals like that from the mines ministry because of the strike that they had. No referral came through. So, the other one was I addressed the concerns of Interfor proposed logging in the Springer Climax area and the impact on the Brandon water system. And also, the Three Hugger Society has been calling me and they were concerned about the old growth forest in that area. And, well, most of my time was spent on the aggressive, dangerous dog bylaw. And the emails that I received, and I responded to every email, pro and con, with my comments, and I sent you a copy of my typical response. And going forward, I'll be meeting with the new Community Services Manager, Tricia Davison, regarding development at South Spokane, and the old schoolhouse has been taken down. They're looking at some kind of facility there in the park there, so we'll be making a meeting with Amanda Murphy from Kootenay Basic Trust again, and we'll also take a look at the development of Campbell Field. Got to get that resurrected and moving on that. And then the last one that I've been getting a call from a lady about water safety on the Spokane River. And I don't know exactly what she wants, but probably I'll be getting a hold of her today after this meeting when I go home and trying to find out what she wants. And that about concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Popoff. McLaren Co.
Thank you, Chair. A few updates from the village. Budget season, of course. And we're not as good as Creston this year, but we have another probably low double-digit tax increase, which sounds bad, but I would congratulate the courage of the council in an election year to still do things like address asset management and still keep our taxes in the bottom 50th, below the 50th percentile of municipalities across the province. Another big change for the village is we are hiring a director of emergency services, i.e. a full-time fire chief. So that's going to be a large change and a large expense that we haven't previously had. We were lucky enough to receive a dividend from our community forest, NACFOR, this year, which we haven't for a few years, to the tune of $250,000. So those who have community forests are great. Those communities who don't, I strongly recommend looking into it because for all kinds of reasons, and I could talk at length about that. Couple things about regional district. Attached to my report in the agenda is the annual report from the regional innovation chair from Selkirk College. So I highly recommend you read that if you have any interest in rural economic development. And I referenced it in comments earlier about their State of the Basin report, which just was released in December. It's about 20 pages of infographics, so it's not solid, boring text. It's got a lot of really good information. So I recommend you read that. AKBLG resolutions, we didn't get any from this board this year. I emailed everybody back in December and early January, and no comments. So I guess we have none of the village either. So there we go. And lastly, I got to attend my first UBCM executive meeting back in November, which was excellent. I'm on the economic development and environment committees. Next meeting is coming up, I believe, in February, and I would like to set up semi-regular meetings of small communities, which is 2,500 and under. But if anybody has any UBCM feedback in the meantime, I am happy to receive it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. To put that timer on for me. So in no particular order, I managed to do a lot of stuff in the last couple months. So first noting, Lardo Valley Opportunity Society is one of my nonprofits in the Lardo Valley. And they do a lot of work. Two of the things that I'm working with them on is they're doing a housing report that's specific to the Lardo Valley, remote, no services. What does that look like for them? So I provided some feedback and engagement. And then they're also working on a Lardo Valley resiliency plan and the neighborhood emergency program plans for each of the 7 communities in that valley. So we met with them, including Dan Seguin and Nora, I believe was there as well, and had a really good conversation around how does that work? No fire service, how do you do net planning, who gets the information, who triggers it? It was a really good conversation, so it was great. Some of the things that I do to plan out my year, I like how you say you're planning out your year ahead. I kind of do that every January. One of the things I do is regarding grants. With my community development, I don't do discretionary, but with my community development, I plan a year in advance. With every time I say this, I look at Hennegraph, 24 communities. I only have one water service, and the fire service is quite limited. So a lot of those grants I'm allocating out to nonprofits who are actually delivering primary services. And I do core funding with them. So they've been able to rely on me on an annual basis, from museums to the halls to whatnot. So I do those a year in advance. If anyone ever wants to see, I've got lots of spreadsheets that are super exciting. Over the holidays, I had a couple things going on. I had started this thing at the beginning of December. It was called 20 Days of Sharing. And I did it on my Facebook page, my director page. And I basically just promoted sharing information on which services, what do they do, what are you paying for it, kind of as like a lead into budget, and also just all the amazing people that work in that. So we did the fire service, we did search and rescue. I said I think I forgot to tag Mayor Hewitt, but I meant to, sorry. And then I only got to like day 9 and it was Christmas, and everyone I've contacted that's our contribution services, they were off on holidays. I haven't heard back from them. So I made it to day 9. There's still more to say, and I kind of dropped the ball on that, but it was really well received. It was great for the community. Like, oh, that's how that works. Oh, that's interesting. So I found from a communication perspective, it was super fun to do. And of course, over the holidays, as usual, probably could time this thing. We had some power issues. So lost the power again. I think everybody lost power for a while. Lord Valley tends to lose it longer. The bonus with this one is BC Hydro no longer has a community rep I can direct community questions to. They direct you to the website and the phone if you have questions, which is really difficult when you have no power, no landlines. So that's become, again, another advocacy piece. We also don't have a TELUS contact. So emergency services has been fantastic, but it's not our realm. It's not our realm at all. It doesn't trigger our emergency services response. So still working on that one, ongoing. Also over Christmas, Marblehead had a closure, and that definitely was, although staff communicated well around Christmas, people were not impressed that they had a lot of material to get rid of. So that was fun. No one intended to close, of course. The other thing I do at this time is I do budget newsletters. I do a first budget and a second budget. So they'll come out the end of January and then the end of February. And I'm happy to share them with anyone who would like to see it. I kind of go through how our budgets work. And then I go by service at a rate per 1,000 and I compare it over the last 3 years. So if people read them, they're really informative. Do they read them? I don't know. Had a Lardo Park visit. Lardo Park is one of our regional parks, and it was originally wanting a wharf. The wharf didn't go through. It's a long history. I won't tell you it all. But we kind of have like every couple of years we get together with the community to check in on the balance between more boat space, more tree space. It was a really good conversation. It was actually quite good. I love getting that community together. Staff were incredible. That was great. And one thing I forgot to mention as chair is I attended the Art of the Safekeeping, which was an opening. Director Popoff was there as well. It was held at MLA Minister Anderson's office, and this was Petra, I won't try and say her last name, who tracked in a visual way everything that happened with the 2024 Slocan Fire Complex. I just go and see it. I think it's still up. It's an incredible art piece to look at all of the things that occur in a fire and those connections and those resources and it was incredible. I was quite moved. So I did attend as the board chair, and I just forgot to mention that. It was really beautiful. That is up at MLA Anderson's office. That's it for now. I probably went over 2 minutes 30. You can call me on it. All right. Well, we're ready to close the meeting to the public. Thank you. Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. And so to those online who are not directors, if you can, please log off. Thank you very much. Those that are directors, please turn on your cameras. Recess of open meeting, please. Thank you.